the truck and turn it up. It's time for the show. JB and JC and Mad Dog Mully. It's a power free for these amigos. A lunchtime meet and treat. A power trio. With guests and fans that really rock. It's time to talk 3 hours about those damn Gamecocks. So grab a sandwich, soup, or beer, and let's go. It's time for the show. Oh no. It's time for TG, the Gamecock Show.
Gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
It's time for Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Built by the Barndominium Company, served by Chicken Cock Whiskey, and part of the Chief Sports Network.
Touchdown Carolina! Touchdown Ace Sanders! Pressure! Clowney just dives in!
J.C. Sherbert, Phil Mullinax, and Jamie Bradford.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
Pop a top again.
out, y'all.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, shut up and dance. Don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, shut up and dance with me. Shut up and dance with me.
It is Friday. Greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard and welcome home inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barndo Co. and presented by Resto Pros of the Midlands, Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. It is a breaking news Friday. I'm sure many of you are already aware of what has transpired just within the last hour at South Carolina. Coach Ray Tanner will resign his position as the athletics director at the end of the semester. We'll get to that in just a moment. Mad Dog, Matt, and myself, JB. JC will be here in just a little bit. We've got a jam-packed show today. Obviously, Michael Flint and John Strickland in the final hour. Kind of a big game tomorrow. If anybody remembers, LSU in South Carolina at Williams-Brice Stadium at noon. College Gameday is in town. Many of you making your way to Columbia tonight if you're not already in town. So we'll talk to John and we'll talk to Flint about that. Patrick Davis will join us today at 1:30. He'll guest pick. All of them will have something to say about Coach Tanner. Raphael Esparza will be here at 12:30. We'll go over all the betting lines this weekend, at least the big ones in college football. Great game last night as well. We'll do our best to get in all the high school boys. A lot of them played last night because of ridiculous threats to schools across the state from a bunch of idiots that have nothing to do other than be idiots. So that sucks for all those that weren't able to play in front of fans or had to move games up or whatever the case is. That's just a shame. Weather, of course, has impacted some ball games that were played last night as opposed to tonight as well. So there will be a bunch of high school football out there. The weather forecast is greatly improved for the weekend, and we are really, really excited about that, no doubt. But Matt, Phil, it is every once in a while we get one of these type days, and we haven't had one in a while that's got news this big, and it is big, big, big news with Coach Tanner announcing that he will be stepping down at the end of the semester. Before I get y'all in here and get your thoughts on that, and we'll tell you what additional information we've got from the university. This was sent to me probably about 30 minutes ago. Coach Tanner will move into a new role at South Carolina. He will transition into the role of becoming the athletics director emeritus and senior advisor to the president, which will focus on fundraising and community engagement. They will conduct a national search for a new AD, and that will begin at the end of the fall semester. Under this new agreement, Coach Tanner will remain at South Carolina in this position, his new position, until June of 2028. That contract was already approved this morning by the Board of Trustees. Coach Tanner went on to say, quote, "I'm humbled and I am honored that I've had the great fortune to be a part of this wonderful university, and that will continue. For a while now, I have thought there's going to come a time for Carolina to get a new athletics director, and the president and I have had those conversations. There was interest for me to remain at the university. I agreed to stay in a new role because of my passion for South Carolina, this city, and this entire state. I've loved my experience as a baseball coach and as an administrator, and I'm grateful to have been able to work here for such a long time. I married a Gamecock, Miss Karen, and my 3 children grew up as Gamecocks. My time here is something I will never and have never taken for granted." Dr. Emeritus, the president at South Carolina, went on to say, "I was reluctant to accept Coach Tanner's decision because of what he has accomplished and means to the Gamecock community. Ray serves USC with such integrity and devotion and sets high standards in developing student athletes and enhancing fan experiences. I'm very pleased that the Board of Trustees agreed to have Coach Tanner continue his commitment to the university from a different position." Now, there's more on this release. I'll add to guys that he will Um, he will assist the new athletics director in the transition whenever they do make a hire. So Coach Tanner will be assisting in that phase as well. So, but that is big breaking news. Phil's got a lot going on behind the scenes here, I know. So we'll start, Matt. Your thoughts.
First and foremost, Ray Tanner did so much for this university from a baseball coach standpoint, athletic director. You said it, JB, part of 6 national championships at South Carolina. How often has that happened in any of our lifetimes? It was a big part in Steve Spurrier having a lot of success on the football field at South Carolina. And then, Don Staley as well. So I know that he was and still is absolutely a coach's athletic director. That's a big reason that a lot of coaches have had interest in jobs at South Carolina because of the way that Ray manages his coaches and his athletic department. And, Ray Tanner gets a bad rap by a lot of Gamecocks when, there's potholes in the road around the stadium. But, all in all, what a tremendous career he's had both as a coach, as an athletic director in South Carolina. Is very fortunate that he will be staying on in any capacity going forward.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And look, I know a lot of these coaches and know a lot of the coaches that have been at South Carolina under Coach Tanner's leadership. And I can tell you, look, Coach Holbrook is on our show all the time. We'll have him. He'll be back next week. He's had a lot going on. But even guys who, maybe it didn't end the way that they wanted it to, like a Chad Holbrook, will all tell you how much of an honor it is to work for Coach Tanner. That's why Paul Maneri's here. That was one of the things that Coach Beamer was so interested in. Obviously, he wanted to come home to South Carolina, but being able to work for Coach Tanner. We've just recently heard Ashley Chastain mention the same thing. Lamont Paris and Don Staley have been very outspoken about this over the years, and the fact that Coach Tanner is easy to work for because he understands coaching. He's not just a business guy sitting in a chair looking at numbers all day. He understands what these ladies and gentlemen who are the coaches at the university. He understands what they go through, but he has also sustained a bunch of success off the field. They're coming off of a record revenue and fundraising year where the Gamecocks surpassed $20 million in annual fundraising for the first time, which is really tremendous. And athletic department revenues have risen almost 80% under Coach Tanner's leadership since his first year at South Carolina. Every single sport in Columbia, every sport at the university has undergone a major facility upgrade during his tenure as well. I mean, these are all things that matter, not to mention the fact that for 35, think about that. There's only there's 2 semesters a year, 35 consecutive semesters. The Gamecock student athletes have had a cumulative 3.0 GPA, and obviously he's had a lot to do with that. So, overall, I mean, South Carolina has been lucky to have Coach Tanner. Again, he'll stay on at least until the end of the semester before transitioning into his new role. I'm aware, obviously, we're all aware of the report that came out in the state about Taylor Edwards. But I can tell you, I have been checking on this with the closest of closest sources that I have over the last hour. And I can tell you right now that nobody is aware of any correlation between these 2 events. Okay. If that is something that ever comes to light, that's fine. And we will absolutely discuss it. But I just tell you that the people that I know that are in the know have no knowledge of anything that has anything to do with this. That is something that Taylor Edwards is going to have to deal with in his career, but not Coach Tanner. So with all that said, we got JC in now. JC, with that breaking news this morning, we'll transition to the football game here in just a little bit. But your thoughts and what are you hearing?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate what you said. You have to understand this too. Everybody's going to focus on the public timing of everything. This is not Nick Saban deciding 5 minutes before the Board of Trustees meeting he was going to retire. The Tanner thing's been in the works for a while. The Taylor Edwards thing happened in the summer. The reason the articles came out this week is because of something called a Freedom of Information request, which usually takes 60 to 90 days. And I know because of paywalls and things like that, sometimes people don't read articles in newspapers anymore because they put everything behind a paywall. And, I have a lot of subscribers, and I respect that. I don't think you should. If you don't want to, you should. I don't think that it's imperative, unless you probably talk about the Charleston Post and Courier. I subscribe to that one, but it's not imperative now to get your news especially about the Gamecocks to subscribe. But the headline, it wasn't misleading. It was what was in the article, but the headline says major violations, plural.
Right.
I can tell you, unless there's something someone uncovered that I'm not aware of, I can tell you the Taylor Edwards thing came down to one situation, one violation, and that was it. Where they got that, the plural and serious was what they used, because it was a serious situation per the rule book, was an HR email from the HR person at SC, South Carolina, to Taylor himself, or his lawyer, one. And so that HR people probably aren't familiar with NCAA rule books, that they're speaking in generalizations. The generalization was taken and put in an article. If you notice in the article, nobody at South Carolina, not an unnamed source, nobody commented for the piece. It was all taken from FOIA. So the Tanner thing is definitely not related to Taylor Edwards. Let's just put that to bed. Am I kind of surprised they chose this Board of Trustees meeting? The other thing about it is, why not wait till Monday? Well, Board of Trustees meetings are public. And so if they're going to do it at a meeting, you have to do it at a meeting. You're kind of locked in there. You can't just vote on something and then sit on it for 2 days. That too, we get into information laws. It's a state-supported institution. It surprised me that they maybe didn't wait a month or something, because the game day is in town tomorrow. It's not a distraction for the team at all, or the football program at all. It shouldn't be for the fans, but
agreed.
In the past, the university, because I've been aware of stuff like this, they'll hold stuff, like they won't put anything out like while Dawn Staley's team's in the Final Four. When there's some news going on during that period, or when the men's basketball team, they try, just like any organization that has a PR department, they try to kind of stagger it, right? And that's fine. You want all the focus to be on one good thing. And so it was it was just one of those things. The timing, I would call it surprising, not relevant to anything else. Shouldn't be a distraction, but surprising from that standpoint. As far as Ray moving into another position, Coach Tanner, I think that move in and of itself, is fine. I mean, he's been the AD for 13 years. College athletics nowadays, that's an eternity. I think regardless of what anybody wants to say, he did a good job. He guided the programs through some transition. I think at the end of the day, right now in this moment, all the programs are doing well. Football's only 2 games in, but so far so good. You had a slew of good hires in the spring. Lamont Paris is doing well. Dawn Staley certainly is the best in the country. So you kind of look around and say, well, hey, that part of it right now, everything's stable. You mentioned the fundraising, the money. People want to talk about how he didn't get behind NIL or whatever. And Carolina in general, not just him, they got off to a slow start for a number of reasons. But I can tell you now, I've said many times, the NIL situation is much better. Who do you think put that plan together and realized, hey, it's going to take way too long with the rate everybody else is going to get Carolina even and ahead in this? So Coach Tanner and those folks that work there, Hillary Cox and those guys, came up with a plan to get them there. That's good. Hey, who cares? That's good. It's not something that's been broadcast from sea to shining sea as far as details. For that reason, I can't get into a lot of details, but the money's there, and to compete with your Ole Misses of the world. And I think that's fine. That's why I'm not worried about losing Dylan Stewart to money or anything. I think it's preposterous. So, there were a lot of things done that he did that were positive. Does everybody wish Carolina would have won more across the board in sports other than women's basketball? Absolutely. But that's not always on the AD, and so Ray Tanner leaving as far as that goes, it's time. It's probably time he gets to go transition into something. Coach Tanner, I don't know him like Jamie does. I've met with him a couple times. I met with him 2 summers ago, and you can tell Coach is getting on up there, man. He's got kids in college.
Don't tell him
it's about time to go retire. And I don't mean that as disrespectful or anything. He'd probably tell you the same thing. And so for that reason, it's time. And he's never, he didn't want to coach baseball for the rest of his life. And he's a guy that kind of likes to move on to other things. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's been a lot of talk that it has been coming from some I call them the Tanner haters, and from also some people that totally support him. I don't think him stepping down really is a great news for Carolina or horrible news for Carolina. It's just a thing that happens. And I think we all need to honor him and respect the job he did and the job he's going to do in his new role, and understand that, this guy don't believe the crap. Well, okay. So what scares me is this: you're about to hire a new AD, and maybe it's because the new president Amarides just got here. I know he was here before. He's kind of a Pastides guy. And it's probably because of the board of trustees, just to be honest. Well, I have a very shaken faith that whatever his replacement is, and I'm not talking about fan reaction, because if anything, a lot of you out there and even me, I don't know that any of us are qualified to say if it's a good AD or not. I just with the various opinions about it, with the criteria for the job, with the way college athletics is changing, I don't know. But I'll tell you this: I know a lot of people in that business, and they all say the same thing. It's 80% clowns, 15% of pretty good ADs, and then you got 5% that are really making impact. So what are the chances that South Carolina and the board find that guy? It is more of a crapshoot than coaching. And the reason for that is you have a lot of business guys and gals in it now that they do have a good business sense. They don't know coaching at all. They micromanage. I saw somebody mention John Curry from Wake Forest. Right. Okay. So you're going to hire the guy that didn't hire Clausen or Walters, right? This guy ran Frank Martin out of Manhattan, Kansas when they were rolling over because he wanted to suspend a player, right? That Frank didn't want to spend, a micromanager, right? He managed you want to talk coaching searches, managed the biggest fiasco in the history of college coaching searches at Tennessee, and let Twitter fans and Clay Travis and everybody else railroad him, and he ended up getting fired for it, and also was turned down by Dave Dorn. Okay. And then he goes to Wake Forest, and he's the only coach in America during a massive budget fall that fires a coach in a major sport when he got rid of a legend, Danny Manning, in the middle of summer. So you want that guy at South Carolina? I'm sorry. That's the example of the type of candidate out there. I think there are some good candidates out there. I don't know if the board of trustees or whoever else. I'm just not familiar. It's been a while since they've had an actual AD search it's been 20 years. So I just don't know. With the way things have gone with president searches and things like that, and the crap today with one guy not wanting Tanner to get his job or whatever. I mean, ADs are smart. They don't want to work in that type of environment. They're just like coaches. So I'm hoping and praying it works out for South Carolina. I really am hopeful. This concerns me, and it's concerned me for a while.
It's 11:20. We'll hit a timeout. We'll come back. We'll brush up a little bit more on this, and then we'll work our way into LSU and South Carolina this weekend. Again, it's a noon kick tomorrow on ABC. The Game Day boys are in town. Hits will be happening all day from Gamecock Park, and we certainly hope that you can make it over there and check some of that out. But again, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning is when the main show starts, and the gates open at 6:30. So plenty on that. Michael Flint, John Strickland, Patrick Davis, Raphael Esparza, they'll all be joining us in our program today. But we've got you covered with the breaking news that Coach Tanner will be stepping down in the coming months from his position as the athletic director at South Carolina. More on that and the bowl game when we return.
Oh, man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen,
When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
Edward Jones is a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show on the Chiefs Sports Network. Call me, financial advisor Eric Ponder, at 864-862-2161 for all your investment needs. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
The electric grid that had been placed under Lambeau so that the field would never freeze.
Those two things are all the NCAA has. That's all they have. They're not worth anything without the men's basketball tournament and now the women's tournament.
Listen to these interviews and more on the JC and Morgan podcast by downloading the Chief Sports app. Part of the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say, and so does nationally recognized the Barndominium Company, where they are building dream homes in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Their turnkey process can be custom designed and takes 6 months on average. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. Thebarndominiumco.com. Gamecock owned and operated.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Remember what I said about Coach Spurrier?
We were in a parking lot, but I don't remember what you said.
Let's hear it right now. Yeah, right now.
I don't think Spurrier wins the SEC or national title. I don't care if he coaches here 400 years.
Hey, well, let me tell you something. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But there's good enough to beat this game. Give me my hand.
The live one here.
That's my story.
So Corso says they win tonight, but the long-term... Exactly. Kenny, enjoy your vacation. Great job. We appreciate it. It's been fun here in Columbia. It's an ESPN primetime game.
Oh, what else can I say? Until my dying day, I'll be a South Carolina Gamecock. Yes, I
will. They'll all be back except for Kenny Chesney tomorrow. That was the last time College Game Day was in town, 2014. Carolina fell that night to Missouri 21-20. That voice you heard there, of course, one of the great songs that are out there, Patrick Davis. He'll be joining us today at 1:30 p.m. on the air. Looking forward to getting old PD back in the saddle here on ITG. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks. This show presented by the South Carolina Education Lottery and our friends at Palm Casual. PalmCasual.com. Make your outdoors the best they could possibly be. Nobody's a bigger Gamecock than Aaron Beasley, the owner of Palm Casual here in the great state of South Carolina. I promise you're buying Gamecock to Gamecock if that's where you go. PalmCasual.com to check out their catalog and to buy the best stuff that you can possibly get. Coming back to Coach Tanner here in just a moment, but a reminder, it's a noon kick tomorrow at sold-out Williams-Brice Stadium. And how about that weather forecast? It sure is starting to clean up and look pretty good here in Columbia. On ABC, Fowler, Herb Street, and Holly Rowe will have it. Mike Cousins, Max Starks, and Mike Peasley, they've got it on ESPN Radio nationally. And then we all know on the Gamecock Sports Network, Todd Ellis, Tommy Suggs, and Chet Tucker will have the call. It'll also be available if you're traveling on Sirius XM channel 374. We've got plenty of notes to get to. I want to add a couple of things though on the Coach Tanner situation. Look, I've known Coach Tanner a long time, and obviously I think everybody would be in agreement that you're going to miss from time to time when you make hires and things like that. And Coach Tanner would probably be the first one to tell you that, looking back, he probably would like some do-overs, as every AD would probably tell you, though. With that said, his tenure overall at South Carolina has been a success, and I pointed out most of those just a little while ago. I always go back to the coaches and what they have to say about the guy that they're working for, and they're all glowing reports. There's probably one coach who's ever left here who wouldn't give you that, and it's not Will Muschamp. With that said, though, I want to bring Matt into this too, and bring Phil into this. They haven't had much to say yet. We've been on the air for 27 minutes. Leaning back on some of what JC had to say. I'm not going to speculate on future candidates. Let me remind everybody, Coach Tanner is the AD until they hire a new AD, and that's not even going to begin. They're not even going to begin a search for that until the end of the semester. So he's going to be around here a little while, and then he's going to help that transition for the new AD into his new role, and then Coach Tanner will transition into his new role as AD emeritus and senior advisor to the president. But leaning in a little bit to what JC had to say, I do think that there's a level of excitement when you're going to make any hire, right, guys, in athletics and college athletics. I mean, there's so many people who have a vested interest, a financial interest, a fan interest in the program and in the athletics department. My family, for instance, has given thousands of dollars for 53 years to the University of South Carolina. And so we feel very strongly about whom they hire and all those type things. But at the same time, guys, like there's that to offset the excitement, there certainly, I think, will be some discomfort. I think that the Board of Trustees has deserved to be questioned at times at South Carolina in decisions that they have made or have not made. And so when it comes to, making that choice, I personally will say this, I feel more comfortable knowing that Coach Tanner is going to have a hand in this because nobody knows that role better than him. And I think that might maybe catch some people off guard, Matt. I think that some people might think that he's just been some total failure, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm not going to tell them to think differently. But also, the one thing I can 100% confidently say is that Coach Tanner, he would lean more on his failures to help the next AD than he would his successes. The successes speak for themselves, but he would lean more so on what he felt like he should have or could have improved or done better in his time as the AD to help the next guy maybe be able to improve that when he gets here.
Yeah, I'd say absolutely on that note, JB. And then, look, nobody knows the coaches at South Carolina better than Ray Tanner. And, these coaches are familiar with the way that Ray Tanner leads, and Ray Tanner being around is going to help in that transition. It's going to be, hey, let's go out to lunch, dinner with Lamont. Let's go out to lunch, dinner with Shane, all those types of things. And then, look, the athletic director gets a clean slate with all these coaches. And look, what would not be appealing about the way that women's college basketball is being promoted right now and walking into the dream women's college basketball program as an athletic director and stepping in there and promoting it and continue to pump it up like Ray has done. But, like you said earlier, I mean, I think Ray Tanner being around is definitely going to help. I think that 100%. But on the flip side of that too, like South Carolina should be a pretty appealing place right now for an athletic director to come. I mean, we've all talked about the 11 out of 10 project, all of that, but that stuff's still out there. And, South Carolina has always been a sleeping giant in especially college football. I mean, they have the opportunity every single coaching change, it seems like, but South Carolina should be a very appealing place for an athletic director to come and to be with Ray Tanner. It's going to be the same thing as the relationship with coaches.
Yeah, to JC and Phil, I'm going to do everything I can. We love hearing you, man, but I know you just have so much
you're
going
good.
on right now behind the scenes. No. You do what you got to do,
worries.
man. But JC, this is a very appealing place for multiple reasons. Number one, the facilities at South Carolina not only are outstanding, they're on the doorstep of improving drastically, as we well know, right? We've been talking, but we're not going to get all the way into that conversation, but we know there are big things coming there from a facility standpoint. The support in this state is absolutely outstanding. South Carolina's fan base is as good as anywhere in the country, and they're going to be there for you. You've got success here. I know football wants to win championships, and they haven't won championships. Everything else has won championships. Even basketball has won championships. Some people forget. And of course, so you've got great coach. I mean, there is not to mention the fact that you're in the SEC and you're in an unbelievable financial situation coming from the league and your television partners and all those type things. And then you add in all that, JC, you add in the human element of this, right, guys? We're all South Carolinians. We're all from this state, and we're all from different parts of this state. But one of the things that we all understand about Columbia, South Carolina, is where it's actually located. Like an AD is most likely going to have to move to Columbia and bring a family with them, right? And they're going to look at things. What is life like there? The little things that we all look at. Everybody in this chat box looks at the same things that these people do. We look at these people as some sort of superheroes or mythical figures, but that's not really the case. They want to know, if we move to Columbia, can I take my family to the beach? How far away is the beach? How far away are the mountains? How much does it cost to live in Columbia? What are the schools like? Are there things to do? So those are all attractive pieces outside of all the stuff that we already talk about, the athletics department, its successes, the TV agreements and all those type of things. And Dr. Amaritis, from everything I've been told, I've never met this gentleman personally. I sure hope to one day. I did get to know President Pastides fairly well over the years. Dr. Amaritis is a great guy to work for. I know Coach Tanner's been ecstatic to be under his leadership since he took over. So that's another bonus here. So there's a lot of good that will attract a lot of quality candidates to Columbia.
Yeah. And there's three little letters that mean a lot. ACC. I mean, God, what a stupid thing I just said. SEC. Did I say? I said. I'm sorry. When news breaks like that, like 50, I'm having a nice morning. Me and Phil's meeting didn't go as long as I thought because somebody didn't set him up with the right access for 24/7. And I'm in there eating some chili I made last night that was delicious, and talking to my stepson, and I get a text from my boy Daniel. It's like, "What do you think about this Tanner situation?" I didn't expect it to go. I wasn't even on the message board. I didn't get an alert. And it's like, what are you talking about? So anyway, yeah. Bruin says I need to be fired. Yes, I need to move into a emeritus role right now on the show for saying that. Three little letters, SEC. So for like an ACC AD now, or a guy in the Big guy in the Big 12 or the Big East, or even the Big 10, that maybe is at a place where your quality of life isn't as good as it is in the South. This job is going to be extremely attractive, because what's every AD worried about now is money. Well, the SEC schools don't have that problem. I mentioned the NIL situation being fixed to a certain extent. There's still a long way to go because everybody else continues to grow it, and we don't know what's going to happen with the lawsuit. Revenue sharing's coming. But South Carolina is set up so much better now than it was. And then ADs, not every AD is a football person. I personally think they need to get someone who loves football, like Ray loves football, but Ray's a baseball person. He understood football was first. But not every AD's a football person. They love things like Dawn Staley's program, because in their circles, everybody wants to be championship level in women's sports because it makes them look good to their peers, and you get a lot of pub as a department that way. So you look at that, it's like, my goodness, who doesn't want to, like Matt has pointed out, that makes it attractive. The facilities over the last 20 years have done a complete 180. I mean, they used to be at the bottom of the SEC. They're top 5 or 6, South Carolina. And there's just a few little things to do here and there. And, the stadium probably needs to, generate more revenue. Sounds crazy to say, but,
which they're
South
working
Carolina
on.
Less luxury boxes than now Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt did something.
Coach Tanner said that right here with us.
Yeah,
that was one of the first things he brought up. Yeah,
but I'll say this: it's like ADs relish projects like that, especially when you got like Ray Tanner here raising funds with you. So you got the previous fundraiser here. They relish projects like that compared to hiring and firing coaches. Like I said, most of these folks, folks that are coaches like Coach Tanner, he doesn't enjoy firing. Nobody enjoys firing people. The hiring process is kind of fun, but you're going to get judged these days no matter what happens. Most ADs would rather not do that. They would rather take over a situation that's stable, have coaches in place they get along with, that can win, and go build buildings and make money and generate revenue and all that stuff and collect checks and coaching or lead a department in the greatest conference on earth. In college sports on earth. I don't know about like the Indian Cricket Collegiate Conference, Matt. Do you play fantasy cricket for that one? I'm just kidding.
I don't, but I got some Facebook friends, man, super into cricket.
My man is a fantasy sports expert, but I think it's very attractive. The one thing that will make it not attractive is if there's leadership issues, because what's very important to just about all of us that are anybody that would be accomplished enough to be a good hire for this job. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in college athletics in general, you have to get along with your bosses. You have to. So if I'm the board of trustees, I'm treading very carefully with this. I'm not treating it like I did the botched school president searches we've seen. I'm not letting politics get into it. And I'm kind of hopeful that Amarides has a short list and you just defer to him, because I'm not being ugly and I'm not blaming a boogeyman here for past failures at all. I'm saying there's a track record there of just of clown college level behavior, particularly with one or two of them. I'm not going to go any further than that, because something happened today that was stupid. And there's been somebody going around that's part of that body that's been raising hell about Coach Tanner not having a Jimmy Haslam level deal for a logo on the field. I'm like, there's no Jimmy Haslam here, dude. You're supposed to be a trustee of this university. You should know that. You're just bitching to bitch. Yeah. Nobody wants to work in that environment. So, and I'm not saying this dooms anything. I'm just saying, if it were me on the board of trustees, and who knows, 10 years from now, maybe I will be. But right now, I would just kind of swallow my pride and my ego, just be overly supportive, not only of the president, but whoever the new hire is, because you don't want somebody that's going to be really great and take this thing to the next level, because that's what you want to do. You want to build on what's already here, just like Tanner did for Hyman. Hyman had a lot more to build on in some ways when he took over for McGee, like facilities, but he did inherit Steve Spurrier, and that helped a lot get things going for him. This new person's going to inherit quite a bit, so build on it. You want somebody to get to who's that next level thinker that can go out and lead this program into the future. And if you're the BOT, you have to be very, very careful that past events and then current egos do not derail a potential home run hire. Like I said, there are not that many out there. So you don't want anything that really is irrelevant to derail it. And that's really all I got to say about that. And the whole AD thing, I'm just going to, I'm going to rock and roll and talk about, I won't talk about football, but
we're absolutely, we're going to hit a timeout and get to football. And I think that's very well said, JC. This might be a good opportunity as well for the university to maybe look within and make some additional changes that would probably help them down the road. I think, as we all know, I'll add this too with Coach Tanner. Coach Tanner is, although it has been announced that that he is going to be stepping down at the end of, once they hire somebody new. This is kind of how he works. You just wake up and have the news. You're not going to get a bunch of leaks with this over 6-month period. Is he, isn't he, whatever, all the stuff you'd heard in the past, most of it was hogwash. I can tell you that this has been a very tight, I know this for a fact, over the last couple of weeks, this has kind of come into his heart, and it has been a very tight circle, because the people that I spoke to this morning who are in his circle didn't know a damn thing about it. And so, this is kind of how he works. Like, I'm going to do it now. This is my decision. I'm going to make the decision, and let's move on and get it out there. And they will. And now let's go play football. That'll be his mentality as he finishes out.
Just like Maneri, man. I mean, we were all over that, and we found out from Baseball America. I mean, in a matter of minutes, we had it. It was confirmed, but. Oh, yeah. So, that's how Tanner kind of rolls. I was lucky with Lamont Paris because I kind of knew somebody knew Lamont's agent, and I knew that was done. And of course, we all kind of knew Beamer was done. But, this is how he rolls. I will say this. I'd be lying if I said that this has not been something that people who should know have speculated to me about, but the timeline was not now. The timeline was like maybe at the end of this academic year.
Yeah.
And, 13 years, man. I mean, that's a good old –
that's a great run.
No cliche. A good old college try there. And you can only hope the next AD's here for 13.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so, because the previous guy was out the door to A&M first chance he got.
Yeah.
So,
and Coach Tanner, JC too, in his 29 years at South Carolina as being the baseball coach and being the athletics director, has turned away opportunities to move on to other institutions as both the baseball coach and athletics director, to stay here and do everything he can to improve South Carolina. He should be commended, and I'm very confident that this university will do a lot to honor him in the future.
Yeah, and I'm happy. Only thing is, you wish maybe you'd have collected another trophy in baseball, and maybe the team doesn't get the flu in Phoenix.
Well, they might.
The Final Four, and you got a lot of trophies, but there's been more trophies won since Ray Tanner has been at this university, either as a coach or AD, than ever. They had zero.
What are you talking about?
They had no national championship.
We had some basketball championships in the 70s, but I mean, those weren't
really not very many of
titles,
those either. So you think about like the trophies that have been collected since he's been at this school as a coach or an AD. Yeah. And it's been the glory years of Carolina athletics. It can get better. Don't get me wrong. I think this place has a ton of potential, but you look back, you look at everything that's happened. 5 combined titles in baseball and women's basketball, national championships, 5 national championships, a Final Four in men's basketball, an SEC East in football, a 33-6 period, 42-11. In football, beating Clemson 5 straight times in football, multiple trips to Omaha,
you can keep going. It'll take the next 2 hours and 15 minutes to get through the whole list.
I know. They set the school record for wins in basketball, men's basketball twice. I mean, it's been a good run. And look, his run's not over because obviously he's staying. And so we haven't closed the book on that yet, but it has been a good run. And I think this is a very important opportunity for Carolina, and I wish I had a little more faith things would go smooth, but I'm crossing my fingers and, got to sacrifice a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken like Serrano for Major League this afternoon to make sure all goes well in the hearts and minds of the Board of Trustees and President that they make a good hire.
There's no doubt. It makes me feel better knowing that he'll still have some sort of involvement in this process. All right, we got to get to a break. We are going to turn the page, but we will continue to sprinkle what we've got on Coach Tanner throughout the next couple of hours here on our program. But Gamecock Traditions, you've probably all bought your ponchos by now. Guess what? Good news, everybody. Good news alert. Phil, sound the alarms. The tents are back in stock. Hurry up, get in there now. Village at Sand Hill, Lexington, they're back there, but they disappeared quickly. You're welcome, Gamecock Traditions. I've been telling people for 150 days, get your tents, and you keep selling out. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that has anything to do with me or not, but Gamecock
No, it
Traditions does have the tents back. They do have the tents back, but they'll be gone by tomorrow. So if you want one, call them and reserve it and get in there and get it before the ball game tomorrow. Speaking of that, we're going to get to it. Football, and we'll lead off with some high school stuff when we return.
We got started in 1979. Because we're a manufacturer, we're able to control our costs. That's why we like to manufacture as much of the product as we can, because in our factory stores we can offer a competitive edge over other people around the country. When people come into one of our Palm Casuals, it's like they're buying their car at Detroit. They're going right to the factory and buying their car.
30-day money-back guarantee. That's a big deal with us. I mean, we give 30 days to do anything. I mean, return it, change it, get a different color, get your money back.
When you pull into a store and it says Palm Casual, you know you're at a factory store.
Charleston Fitness Equipment is keeping South Carolina in shape. Clients have come from all over the Palmetto State to find that one piece of equipment that they enjoy that keeps them looking and feeling good. Whether it's a home rower, treadmill, elliptical, free weights, a home gym, or something else, Charleston Fitness Equipment keeps the mirror smiling back at you. Get in shape like the Gamecocks do. Visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com. Gamecock owned and operated and proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
What Right to Bear is we're an association of members across the entire country, and what we offer is we offer legal defense in the event of a self-defense case.
Nice.
So it's not insurance. So we offer an attorney in the event that one of our members might have some type of an accident. ProtectWithBear.com. We've got all of our social media accounts on the bottom of our website. We've got blogs, articles, detailed description of all of the coverages in depth, and we'd love to have you come check us out and ultimately get the protection you need.
Hi, I'm Joel Lurie. If you're turning 65 this year or retiring soon, you probably have questions about Medicare. How do I enroll in Medicare? When do I need to enroll? And what plan fits my needs and budget?
Why use an out-of-state call center when you can work with a local agency?
At Lurie Life and Health, we'll research your doctors and prescription drugs, and we'll help you find the plan that meets your needs and budget.
Lurie Life and Health. Our service is at no cost. Call Lurie Life and Health in Columbia, 803-256-2067.
Bring on your forces of nature. Bring on the storm that's raging. If you get lost in the shadows, there's a fire inside you. It'll be the light that guides you. Come on, carry your flame. Carry it higher. Even in the darkness, carry your torches. Come on, carry your flame. Set the night on fire. Even in the darkness.
Ah, yeah, man. Carolina football and a big one tomorrow. LSU is in town. We will talk so much about it. Last night, some high school games were played. Weather moved them up. Of course, naturally, the weather gets better. This happens every time a storm comes through. And then there were a couple of games that were moved up, some being played tonight without fans in the stands. I know it's happening in Bishop England because of ridiculous threats. Geez Louise, get a life. But a couple of quick scores from last night. Looked like a pretty neat game in the Midlands between where'd it go? Between Chapin and Newberry. Chapin survived 42-37 over Newberry. Marion had a tough night. I know that. Dillon beat them 48-7. Beat the brakes off of them, as a matter of fact. I'm not going to go through all the scores because we want to get to tonight's, but we got one more score from last night. Hold on just a second. They just phoned it in to me. Make sure that I'm right about this. Okay, Phil, can you confirm? I've got Greer 18, Burns 10. Is that true?
Oh, my.
Oh, Is that true, JC? Greer 18, Burns 10. Everything all right?
Burns
Everything
is
okay?
a hot mess. This
Everything
year.
okay? at
There,
Burns?
no,
it's not. No,
it's sad. They've had a lot of injuries. Had a lot of guys transfer. They're playing every game on the road this year.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I follow them on Instagram because you can listen to Burns High Rebels games on the Chief Sports app. Yay.
Yes, you can.
So we follow them on Instagram, but I got the homecoming schedule. Homecoming's at Riverside High School, which is actually technically in a different county. It's in Greenville County.
And you're going to lose that game by 50.
I don't think they've lost to Greer in a minute. That used to be a big rivalry, and Burns is just, there's a lot of issues, but I haven't really been public about it because a friend of mine is like a gigantic Burns fan, and he was tweeting at everybody, and including me on it. So I called it Saturday, and he's like, everybody needs to be fired, and they need to bring Jake Bentley in.
I saw a random picture of a dumpster on fire, and I was like,
well,
it's time to look at what's going on at Burns.
I mean, worse than any Carolina fan. And so the Burns Booster Rebel Club or whatever goes, people like so-and-so, and I got involved. I didn't say anything, in the tweet, it was like, people, we're going to move forward as a family together, and the haters can just hate. And he goes, I founded the Touchdown Club, blah, 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 blah. Then so-and-so was so-and-so. And so then whoever's running the Booster Club goes back and goes, I'm sorry, we must have missed your $50 due for the last 2 years, sir.
Nothing like
it was hilarious. Well, I mean,
drama.
It was crazy, man. Like I lived through through the most dramatic year before this year in the history of Burns football. I did sideline reporting in 2016 for them for some reason. I don't know why I agreed to do that. That's terrible. But that's when they fired my friend Brian Lane, who's now coaching Cutter Woods, Gamecock commitment at Westside, and happened to win a state championship at Westside last year. So I don't know. Whoopsie.
Well,
Whoopsie. That's what you get when you fire alums after one bad year. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's problems at Burns. But
well, before you move on from that, so last week I was sitting there, I was looking at Facebook, trying to watch the South Florence game, get a score. And so I take a screenshot and I send it to these three guys. And JB's like, the app does that for you, right? So don't forget, if you're scrolling the internet, Facebook, trying to find your high school sport event, just go to the app, guys. It's so much easier.
It's a lot easier. That's why we designed it. Let me get some games in tonight. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate your kindness for doing that. I did see in the chat box somebody mentioned a lot of the players from Burns went to Westside. Westside, number 1. They've got number 9, Belton Honiopath tonight. Both are undefeated at 7 o'clock over at Westside. 4th-ranked Irmo is going to take the trip to Carolina Forest, who's got the most interesting record in the state. 1-1-1. 3-0 Irmo. Carolina Forest 1-1 and seriously, 1. They've tied a game. Fort Mill is at Lancaster tonight. Gaffney will host Freedom High School. Gaffney's having a nice start to the season. They are 2-0 on the year. Landrum is out of the state. They're at Polk County. So good luck to them tonight. Again, we're not going to read every single one, but we're going to get as many in as we can here because we got to get to a break and get to the Gamecocks. Greenwood is at 3-0 Lexington tonight at 7:30. Lexington is 19th in the state. 13th in the state is Sumter. They're undefeated, and they're on the road at Crestwood searching for their 3rd win. Crestwood is 2-1. South Aiken and Barnwell. South Aiken looking to even up their record at 2-2. Barnwell looking to go 4-0. 7:30 kick tonight in that one. River Bluff is 3-0. They're trying to get to 4-0, and they're on the road at Gilbert tonight. Gilbert looking for their 2nd win of the season. Fort Dorchester is 3-0. They're going to try to get to 4-0, and if they do, they'll go through South Florence to do it. South Florence hosts the Patriots tonight, and South Florence is looking to get to 500 on the season as they are 1-2 out of the gates. Ashley Ridge is 3-0. How about that? How about Ashley Ridge? 3-0. Hat tip to them. They've got Oceanside Collegiate tonight. Oceanside is off to a 1-2 start, and their coach resigned just a couple of weeks ago, and maybe that means that whole deal will fall apart down there. Hopefully it does, but I didn't say that. Go Ashley Ridge. Wilson Hall, 3-0. They're trying to get to 4-0. They got Lawrence Manning tonight. Hat tip to the Lawrence Manning and the Wilson Hall folks. Good luck. Northwestern and Page Wofford, they'll strut across town undefeated at 3-0. South Point will welcome them, or maybe they won't. South Point 2-1, trying to pull the upset tonight and get to 3-1. Abbeville and 96. Abbeville's at 2-1. 96 is at 1-2. I mentioned games being played without fans. This one, Philip Simmons and Eric Bendig, they'll go like 5 miles down the road to Bishop England to play without fans. Nobody's happy. Logan Hall is the head football coach at Bishop England. He's tremendous. He worked under Coach Spurrier and Coach Muschamp at South Carolina. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator for Devontae Holloman out at Pinewood. He's got BE off to a 2-0 start, not a traditional football school, as we all well know. Bishop England made the call to keep the fans out of the ballpark tonight. They canceled last night's JV and B team games against Philip Simmons because of threats across the state. Want to make sure that nothing happens. Don't blame them. Can't blame them for that. Don't agree necessarily, but can't blame them either.
What kind of are we talking about? Like shootings or something?
Yeah, people, social media threats. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. None of it's been founded, but it's out there. But how about this? The AD at Philip Simmons ain't happy. And his emailed all of his players yesterday and parents. Got questions? Call Bishop England today. Need a refund? Here's the email address for the athletics director at Bishop England. Literally, it went out to the local media. Wild stuff. Grade Collegiate at 1-1. Dutch Fork is 2-0. They're hosting Grade Collegiate tonight. Hanahan at Lucy Beckham. And one more to get in here. JC, I know you're trying to say something, so I'll shut up after this. Wando is at St. James. Wando crapped the bed last week, but they're not going to do it this week. Screw St. James. Wando 75-0.
Hey, when I was a youngster, St. James was a middle school down in Murrells Inlet.
That's former South Carolina center fielder.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about.
Gosh, by the end of this show, JB is going to be Wando 98-0.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. It's my alma mater. They haven't been good since my senior year in high school, like really, really, really good. They've had good years since, but we got the lower state title game my senior year. So, and I'm the only media guy they got. So I'm just going to live in La La Land. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to imagine that they win every game and they shut everybody out and score 80 points. Why not?
So my question is, why is Bishop England like special on this? Because nobody else is playing without fans. So
it's a very, it's a very, very. I just let me say this. I don't feel comfortable speaking anymore on it. I'll just leave it at that. But
I got you.
They probably should play. They probably should have people in there.
Probably should have fans.
It's only one way in there. I mean, but what do I know?
That sounds like something they do in Illinois. We don't need fans for high school football. It matters as Bears. We're going to reschedule it till Saturday at 3:30, and then we're going to play one at noon and one at 7.
Yeah.
Oh, I could only imagine. They'll start going virtual and playing them on, Xbox here soon.
Big wash. Yeah. You're right. We were good, and Stratford was really good too. And then they built the new schools, and everything broke up, and it just all fell apart. All right, we got to go. Everybody wants to get the Gamecocks. Let's get to the Gamecocks. We're getting to them. Carolina, LSU, next here on ITG.
There's nothing like Saturday in South Carolina. However you enjoy Gamecock football, Gamecock Traditions has a long-standing legacy of being a part of your game day. From tailgates to touchdowns, Gamecock Traditions has what you need and want with our beloved Block C logo. Get into Gamecock Traditions in Lexington or the Village at Sand Hill, or visit GamecockTraditions.com and have it shipped to your doorstep. We look forward to taking care of your family. Go Gamecocks.
I'm not allowed to tell the ref how bad he is, so I'm going to need you to do that for me. Oh. He said, you're gone.
I'm a beggar who could use some help. I'm a seeker, a Searching for myself, I'm a rolling stone, just waiting on a friend. I'm a lover, wishing on a star for another, with a broken heart to hold each other close till the end.
Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Nana's Porch, nanasporch.com. At Nana's Porch, they cater weddings, parties, and all kinds of special events. Their meals are served buffet style, and seconds, they're encouraged. Plus, they can bring their mobile food unit to bring on-site and serve your guests as a unique alternative for your catering needs. Inquire about rentals as well. nanasporch.com. Find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. 336-259-7550. National anthem is played every day on this program because we are freaking Americans and we love it. And that is presented to you by our friends at Edward Jones and most importantly, our great Gamecock friend, Eric Ponder. If you got to get your financial future in order, maybe it's your kids, maybe you want to set something up for them or your ex-wife or whatever it is, he's the guy to do it. You know, as I said to X there, being playful, but not really. He can do anything. Eric's great at what he does. Like really great at what he does. I mean, the dude served our country and now he serves all of us. Eric Ponder with Edward Jones. My family is very thankful for him. We are too on this program. So are so many of you across the state. Very thankful that some of you have contacted him about reassuring your financial futures as well. Eric Ponder, a great, great Gamecock, and he's fired up for the game this weekend between LSU and South Carolina, and so are we. Tomorrow at noon, they'll kick it off, and the Gamecocks look to go 3-0 and assuredly put themselves in the top 25 if they can upend the Tigers, coached by Brian Kelly. They come in at 1-1 overall, 27-20. They lost against Southern Cal in week 1. Week 2, 44-21 victory over Nicholls State. Again, this game is nationally televised on ABC following College Game Day. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe. She'll be roaming the sidelines. ESPN Radio has also got it. Mike Cousins, Max Starks, Mike Peasley. And then, of course, on the Gamecock Sports Network, Todd, Tommy, and Chet Tucker. It is sold out tomorrow. Once again, Carolina has sold out the first 2 games of the season. And I got news for everybody. If they win this one, they're going to sell out the next one too. When Ole Miss when Akron comes, and then the next one after that when Ole Miss comes. So hopefully it all turns out tomorrow the way that South Carolina is hoping that it will. LSU leads the series all time, 19-10. 2-1, and in Columbia they lead it 5-1. The last time that Carolina won at home against the Tigers, 1930, the first time that they ever played, and that score was 7-6. But I bet many of you will take a 7-6 final tomorrow if that's what gets the job done. The last time that Carolina won at all in the series was in 1994 on a rainy night in Baton Rouge, 18-17, the final score there. The last two times they played, 2015 and 2020, collectively, Carolina's been outscored 97-48. Brian Kelly and Shane Beamer, clearly, guys, have never faced each other, right? Brian Kelly just made his way to the SEC not long ago, and Shane Beamer just made his way into the head coach's seat. But I've got a stat, and it ain't good. In his career, but only as an assistant coach, Shane Beamer, 0-7 against LSU, looking to change that tomorrow. Matt, we'll lead off with you, my man. Your front of the mind thoughts about this ball game.
Well, I listened to you guys on, I guess that was 2 days ago, so yeah, on Wednesday. And JB, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Mike did too. I mean, it's the line of scrimmages are going to determine this outcome, in my opinion, this weekend. South Carolina does have, for my money, one of the best defensive lines in the country. LSU has two bookend tackles that are going to be top 15 picks. It's time to see who can separate themselves in that game. And I think if it's a wash, that actually helps the Gamecocks. Even if the Gamecocks don't win that battle, I think that that's a wash for the Gamecocks. I think that 12 o'clock game, you couldn't ask for a better environment for South Carolina having game day. I mean, people will be in the stadium, especially game day moving in at 11:40. So it's going to be a raucous environment. I think that this is one of the games where the crowd can play a role instead of just the 22 guys on a field at a given time. Yeah. So I think, just what an opportunity for South Carolina. And, Lenore Sellers only completed 20 passes on the season. You might have to complete 15 to 20 on Saturday in one game alone for the Gamecocks to get that win. But I think that Rocket Sanders is prime. And, the defense, until they show me they are not elite, I'm going to continue believing that the South Carolina defense is elite.
We're really looking forward to getting Strickland and our favorite redheaded stepchild, Michael Flint, who has promised us he will arrive today prior to 1 p.m. Eastern time. You mentioned the offensive line for LSU, over 110 career starts. Will Campbell has allowed 3 sacks ever, and over 1,600 snaps. 3. That's it. 3. 16. You do the math all you want to, but I can tell you it's less than 1%. So it's very minuscule. And look, JC, I said yesterday that was the 3rd time or 4th time I'd said it, and then today would be the 4th or 5th time I've said it. And I'm just going to say it again. And we are all focused on the trenches this week, but we're focused on the trenches with the reality that South Carolina compares in the trenches. And generally you can't have that conversation around here on both sides of the football. It's a little bit different when the Gamecocks are on offense. The offensive line kind of still trying to get things figured out, but they've certainly made a bunch of progress. But they're against an LSU defensive line that A, is depleted with injuries, and B, just isn't kind of what we're used to seeing. Although, as Glenn Gilbo pointed out yesterday, if they do move Harold Perkins back to that edge rushing position, that is probably going to make a little bit of a difference for them, or a lot of a difference for them. Then on the other side, elite, 1, 2. Carolina second in the nation in sacks, 10. Getting pressure with 4. Getting pressure with 5. They're not needing 6, 7, and 8 guys to get to the quarterback. They're needing 4, 5. Best offensive line in the country, at least by the sack numbers. They haven't given one up yet this year. Running the football has been an issue. We'll come back to that just a little bit. But you just pointed out, Matt, as JC, as I bring you into this here, Matt, you just pointed out the hoopla, right? Everybody knows. McAfee's up there doing his show today. You got all these shows going on. You have game day in the morning. Everything's all spiced up, jacked up. Everybody can't wait to get on their Mountain Dews and get out there and yell. And that's generally a storyline for a big game at Carolina. But for the first time in a long time, you can have a real conversation about big boy football in this ballpark, because the Gamecocks have shown that in the last 2 weeks, they belong in that conversation.
I think you're absolutely right. But this particular game does not surprise me as far as Carolina's ability to match up. I just felt like, there's some teams in the SEC that got some offseason hype, and then there's about 7 of them that I don't think anybody really knows. Gamecocks among of them, maybe 8. And then so to kind of get those in order, they just assumed, and a lot of people just picked their favorite players and found reasons not to pick certain players. And so you got the computer spit out LSU as a playoff team. I think this team is much more dangerous than it showed last week. You think about the things that went into that game. Number one, it's Nicholls State. It's like Carolina playing Furman or Wofford. Number 2, Nicholls is a really good FCS program. There was a similar final score with Carolina and Furman last year. That happens. It's the Super Bowl for Nicholls. It's a game on a short week for LSU. And I think this with young people too. Sometimes I think it's almost better if you're on a short week to have a noon or 11 a.m. kickoff that next week because you're tired anyway. You don't sit around all day and get tired and have to I've seen teams sort of show that fatigue at night more so than during the day. And it was a night game down there like it normally is. I think that their running backs are better than they've shown, even with losing John Emery, though Glenn did point out yesterday, last 2 years, Daniels has been their quarterback, was their leading rusher. So they haven't had that back. That said, with that offensive line, you can make a lot of backs look really good. I think the interior of their offensive line has not played its best game yet. So I think they're a really good football team. They're just not the LSU. You guys went through the overall series. Since they're in the SEC era, it's 7-1-1. LSU. They've won 7 in a row. In every one of those games, and I don't care what anybody wants to believe about 2012, in that game, I was there. LSU dominated both lines of scrimmage. That includes Jadeveon Clowney. That includes everybody that started in 2012 for the Gamecocks up front on offense. That whole bunch, the glory years. I think LSU finished 9-4, something like that year. But in that game, they lined up and ran it up Carolina's behind with Jeremy Hill, future pro, even though they had Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr., I believe, at wide receiver. How smart was Les Miles? Not offensively, man. Yeah, we're just gonna run the ball and eat grass. We're men, We're
men.
Love the hat. And Carolina couldn't get any. Marcus had no room to run. Connor threw a pass that Justice Cunningham made a miraculous catch on. There was a pick 6. Carolina played really well that night and lost. Right. Line of scrimmage. I think that's been the difference. That's not a decided advantage for LSU in this game. It all kind of equals out. LSU's offensive line is very strong. Carolina's offensive line is a question mark. LSU's defensive line is a question mark. Carolina's defensive line is a strength. And, so I like that. I like that matchup. What I don't like is how good Garrett Nussmeier is. What I don't like is how Garrett Nussmeier can throw on the run accurately, and he's got about 3 or 4 receivers. It's not just Lacey. Are they the 2019 Tigers or that group I just mentioned with Beckham? No, we don't know that yet. They're pretty good, but we don't know that they're that good. I love their tight end, Mason Thomas. He's great. So it's the biggest challenge by far for this Carolina defense. But offensively, they don't run a 3-2-6. That's weird. Baker's a good coordinator. He's going to have some schematic things that they're going to have to be aware of. But this isn't like the LSU defenses of old. I mean, South Carolina's offense has a chance to go out and play well. So that's how I see it matching up. It's funny that I'm glad there's not going to be rain, though, JB, because I'll tell you this. Weather they've only played 9 times. I think, if I'm not mistaken, taking
Weather's
Oklahoma.
Affected all 9 of them.
Most of them, a lot of them, a ton of them.
It feels like every time they play,
there's
weather,
a monsoon down there. Carolina won. The next year was a new kickoff in Columbia. Jerry DiNardo was in his first year there, took over for the great Curly Howman, who they hired over Steve Spurrier. Way to go. And they had a pretty good team. They were sick. They finished 7-4-1 and ironically blew out Nick Saban in Michigan State in the Bowl in Shreveport. And they came to town. Carolina should have won the game. That was one of the best games that terrible defense that year played. It was a 20-20 tie on Jefferson Pilot. I think Dave Neal called it, or Larry Conley won. All right, so it rained that day in Columbia. Fast forward, I think 02 and 03, everybody was fine. 07, I was down there, and the weather was okay most of the day. But I think around the second quarter, a thunderstorm rolled through, which I found ironic because they go Death Valley temperatures, this, chance of rain, never. And it's pouring down rain. I thought that was ironic.
JC,
So-
was that the trick play game? 07?
I think so. Yeah.
The over the head.
Where they
toss
they
on
over the
special
back
teams,
of Tristan, the little guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they played Ryan Perilou in that game. Les Miles actually was creative that day. 08 was fine. I was there. Night game. Tough loss for the Gamecocks. Thank you, Wilbur Hackett. And you can catch him on Tailgate Talks this week, the ref that tackled Garcia.
Yeah.
All right. So 2012 was beautiful, beautiful day. 2015, the whole dang thing got moved to Baton Rouge because of weather. I don't think 2020 had any weather. That was a weird year anyway, and here we are. This also is not the first time Carolina's gone into a game with LSU thinking we got a real chance to win. 07 set up that way. Carolina had beaten Georgia on the road. LSU was really good. I think Carolina was an underdog, but there was some confidence there. Confidence in 08, confidence in 2012 for sure. Carolina was third in the country. And 2020, y'all remember, they beat Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thought that LSU was off to an 0-2 start. They whipped them. And so this isn't the first time they've gone into LSU games thinking, hey, they match up good in this one. And then reality says different. So we'll see what happens.
It's a different season, but just these are not mirror image of each other. Like these two teams, LSU throws the ball 62% of the time, runs the ball 38% of the time. Nussmeier's completing 75% of his passes.
Right
now, if he completes 75% of his passes, that's not good for the Gamecocks because that just means he's comfortable.
Yeah. But it also, though, it depends on, there's another stat that's a big one going into this game. And Phil, go ahead. By the way, Phil, go ahead and throw up our Carolina jackpot players. If you don't mind as well. But one of the stats coming into this game is 29%. It's Carolina's third down conversion rate. That's got to improve. You want to stay on the field, obviously, offensively in any game that you're playing in. And I think with, as good as that is, South Carolina, to give the Gamecock defense all the credit in the world, Matt, all the credit in the world. They have been phenomenal. And their front four, actually, really, it's like a front 10, but they're only playing 3 or 4 at a time, has just been remarkable. They have been remarkable. With that said, though, you just don't like taking chances against maybe the best offensive line in the country, right? And one of the better quarterbacks that you're probably going to see. I've mentioned his accuracy and all those things. But the thing is the one-dimensional stuff. If Carolina makes them one-dimensional one way or another, I like where the Gamecocks stand.
Absolutely. I mean, and look, that's exactly what LSU is going to try and do to South Carolina. They're going to try and force South Carolina to run the ball. And South Carolina might be fine with that, but Lenore's is going to have to hit a play at some point down the sideline to open things up because you stack 8-9 people in the box, and you can do all the RPOs in the world you want to try and make something happen and get people to the outside, but you're going to have to challenge them downfield. Lenore started doing that against Kentucky.
Yeah.
So it's pick your poison if you're LSU, and JC's been saying this all offseason. This is not the LSU defense of old. This is not the nasty defensive line. This is a gettable LSU defense. And look, I mean, I'm not being a Gamecock homer here, but I mean, has Southern Cal been a world beater the last 3-4 years? No, I mean, they haven't. So you take that first game with a grain of salt, and then Nicholls State with a big grain of salt because they weren't up for Nicholls State to start that game. They're going to be up this weekend.
Yeah, they absolutely will. Brian Kelly, a lot of folks, by the way, have probably forgotten he is the winningest active head coach at the FBS level, 305 career wins. But at LSU, he's 7-4. It's his worst month. And we mentioned this yesterday, guys. If you're going to get them now. They seem to get better as the season goes along. 7-4 in the month of September, just 4 losses total in every other month combined. and they are 4-5 on the road in the SEC under Brian Kelly. Away and neutral site day games, though, 6-1. Away and neutral site night games, just 1-6. That kind of gets us to where we are now with Carolina Jackpot players going into the weekend, presented by our friends at the South Carolina Education Lottery. And did you know, and you may have, and if you do, knowledge is power, pass it on. Did you know that since 2002, the last 22 years, more than 229,000 lottery-funded scholarships and grants have been awarded to University of South Carolina students, like the Life Scholarship, the South Carolina Hope Scholarship, and the Palmetto Fellows Scholarships. Lottery proceeds have funded millions of scholarships and grants across the state of South Carolina and thousands of school buses to get students to school and home from school each and every day. Playing the lottery is fun and is a win for education in South Carolina. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. So what we've got here, let's work backwards, Mad Dog. We'll start with number 90. This is JC's guy. This is his guy. This is TJ Sanders. You talk about, everybody has talked about the ends. Brian Kelly is a very smart offensive line. Will they be able to stop Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart? Nobody knows the answer to that question, but we know damn well that they'll focus on doing it. And this is one of the dudes in the middle that's going to have to make them pay when they do.
Yeah, that was one of the that 90 I put up on the card today really is basically for everybody who wears a shirt in the 90s, because I think that the interior of this defensive line is going to have opportunities tomorrow to make some big time plays and prove that this, not just the edge, position is going to be the talk of the town, but that the entire line is going to stand up and make a statement. LSU has not run the ball very well.
No.
They average less than 3 yards per carry, as Carolina does as well. But with that big, formidable offensive line, you would figure that, they would run the ball a bit more. Now, the two teams they played have committed to, shutting that down, 8 men in the box. But I think with the quality of depth and experience that you have on the offensive line, you're not going to have to stack up 8 in there. I think you'll be effective with just 4.
This is Phil, to your point there, and to JC's point earlier, if you can start getting some pressure up the middle, and Garrett Nussmeier does like to roll out and make some plays with his arm outside of the pocket. Well, if those big offensive linemen are pushing Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart out wide, there's not a lot of space to go when you got the linebackers coming in on you as well up the middle. So, those defensive tackles are going to play a big role in this game. I think it's perfect that you put all the 90s up there.
Yeah, you look at their interior this year, and it's supposed to be really good, right? I mean, those guys can play ball. They have not played up to that potential. Some teams have done pretty good of keeping their dive play in check and some things like that. I in my opinion, TJ Sanders needs to play like he played against Georgia last year. That would be very beneficial.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jules needs to continue to play well. He had a few solo tackles again against Kentucky, man. Solo tackles for a D tackle, that's hard. And it's not like he's tackling them 3 yards down the field. I mean, the guy's getting penetration, making plays. Boogie and Tonka, obviously Tonka in passing situations is good. That whole middle of the defense may have to be the difference today tomorrow as far as getting pressured. So I think that's very important, Phil. And I TJ is such a good player when he wants to be. And I'm gonna say wants to be. That sounds like he doesn't try all the time. In certain situations when he's consistent and kind of in his zone, I thought getting the sack last week was big for him. It's gonna get him going. So I'm looking forward to watching him play.
I'll add this too. I think it goes without saying. Clearly, 5-16. We know who those guys are. It's a day, as we're short on time. We got to get to Raphael, but it's a day where it seems like it's setting up for Rocket Sanders to have a game, and obviously Lenore Sellers is going to have a game off of that. Those two kind of intertwine. The fourth number there, it's just my guy. He's my guy, Phil. That's my guy.
That's it.
Donald Fortune
there. He's got a tall task tomorrow, but I think he's up to it. But
hey. Yeah, that's right. Here's your moment. Here's your NFL moment right here. You're senior. Be the leader. You got 3 All-Americans in the secondary back there not named O'Donnell Fortune. All right. This guy's going to the NFL. He's going to the NFL, the pride of Sumter, South Carolina. He is going to the NFL. But this is it right here. You know, they're going to test him. Nussmeier's better than Vandegrift. He's better than Grant Wilson at ODU. He's a good quarterback. He's going to throw his way. Most likely OD is going to draw Kyron Lacey, I would imagine. But even if he doesn't, he's still going to get balls his way. This is his chance to make a play. And I think this is going to be a big weekend for O'Donnell Fortune. A lot riding on his shoulders this weekend.
I agree. And that 3 goes both ways too, because we're looking at that young freshman wide receiver, Mazio Bennett, with that one as well. Yeah, look for both 3s to have an opportunity to really separate themselves from the rest of the league.
Yeah, I think with Rocket, you know, he needs to have room to run a little more than he's had. I mean, he leads the nation, and it's not broken tackles, but it's either a broken tackle or making somebody miss.
Yards after first contact.
Yards after contact. So he needs a little more room. I think, you know, somebody said, well, he's not fast enough to the outside. There's not been a lot of room, and I'd beg to differ. If you look at his 21-yard run, there's not many backs that size that can cut that quick and bounce it out like that. So he may have to do some of that. You know, I think, you know, Blake Baker obviously is an excellent D coordinator. I think the elixir for an exotic defense like that is 2 things. And we know this from watching Brent Venables through the years. It's a good intermediate passing game. You got to have time to do that. And then it's also being able to run the ball effectively between the tackles, because they're charging upfield and you go right by them. That's the concept. And there's a lot of room to run. You can also run your quarterback. If he can do that. So I think Seller's going to have a good game. I'm not calling this offense bad like some are. It's not. You heard Perry yesterday. Good offense. A lot of it is not yardage. It's playing, you know, scoring touchdowns when you need to, and they did. I think third down has to get better. But we've been harping on that since the offseason. It's been bad for a while. So third down has to get better. But I think this offense needs to, if it can take another step forward this week, you know, Carolina's cooking.
Yeah.
No doubt. We need to step aside. We're powered by our friends at Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. The fall is right around the corner, like the real fall, the crisp in the air. You want to get in the mountains. Fall is a great time to ride on the beach too, man. It's a lot nicer out there than sticky and hot. electricbikescharleston.com, Gamecock owned and Gamecock operated. When we return, we'll get into the betting side of things. We'll get Raphael's thoughts on this game. That line has come down and down and down, and there are plenty of other games across the country as well. Maybe a sneaky good weekend. We'll get his thoughts, and then we got Strick, Flint, and Davis in hour 3. Hang tight. ITG, presented by our friends at Resto Pros, built by the Barndo Co. It'll be right back.
Mike here for my good friend Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. Let's face it, it's been a rough go for mortgage rates the last couple of years. And now more than ever, you need someone on your side to get you the very best possible rate on a new mortgage or a refi. That's where Troy comes in. 27 years of experience working for you. Conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, renovation, rehabilitation loans, all doable with my man Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. And when I say doable, I mean the best possible rate that's out there. It's a phone call that can literally save you thousands of dollars. 803-238-0111. 803-238-0111. You can also check out the website ggmortgage.com.
Hey, this is Cornbread Cowboy, and you're listening to the show. We'll be right back.
Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say, and so does nationally recognized the Barndominium Company, where they are building dream homes in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Their turnkey process can be custom designed and takes 6 months on average. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. Thebarndominiumco.com.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
Hi, I'm Joel Lurie. If you're turning 65 this year or retiring soon, you probably have questions about Medicare. How do I enroll in Medicare? When do I need to enroll? And what plan fits my needs and budget?
Why use an out-of-state call center when you can work with a local agency?
At Lurie Life and Health, we'll research your doctors and prescription drugs, and we'll help you find the plan that meets your needs and budget.
Lurie Life and Health. Our service is at no cost. Call Lurie Life and Health in Columbia, 803-256-2067.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, in Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products and out-of-state locations. Gamecock owned and operated.
It is 12:33. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barndo Co. JC, JC, Matt, Mad Dog, JB, and one of the biggest Gamecock fans from Vegas, Raphael Esparza, joining us to look at this one in a lot of games across the country. He is our global odds maker, and he's wonderful, and we love having him on Fridays. Hey, man.
Good afternoon, guys. I'm pumped. We should only be talking about this game because I am going to be the biggest Gamecock fan on Saturday. Even though they're in the SEC, and you guys know I'm not the biggest SEC fan of college football, even though it means more, but I'm going to make a t-shirt that says SEC, we pay more, not
it
just
pays
means
more.
Yeah, so I think that's the shirt that it should say, and it means more. We just pay more, but we'll see how that goes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. Ohio State pays a bunch of money too, from what we hear.
Yeah, they have no ships. We can't say that yet.
Well, that's fair. Well, neither does South Carolina, but maybe one day we're all hoping and dreaming. We're absolutely going to spend much more time on this game this week than maybe we've spent the last couple of weeks on the Gamecocks. But we always bring you on to give the tips so people can make some money, and you're pretty good at it. JC, how'd you do off of Raphael's tips last week before we get into it here?
Well, I didn't take I know I picked the Gamecocks, but that's I know I picked Kentucky. That's an inside joke, though. I didn't. I took South Carolina and won. And other than that,
good play, good pick.
I think I followed Raphael to a T and was up about $167. But keep in mind, you're talking to a guy. I never play more than $10 a game. And I'll do, and I've never hit one of these parlays, but I'll do on the
no
Apple
parlay,
I'll
parlays, no.
No, see, I do a $2 parlay, and I'll pick 16 games. So if you win $100,000, if you win that, because during March Madness one year, I picked 14 out of 16 in the first round.
And how much did you get out of that?
If I had two more, I'd have gotten. It was a $5 bet. I'd have won $30,000, right? So hey, the odds. I was going to say the odds are higher than hitting the lottery, but I can't say that. I'm going to say that please go buy lottery tickets and go to Vegas and play the parlay.
Yeah, how much you get out of that?
There's a reason why those lights stay on in Vegas all the time, because you're telling people to go parlay.
I feel it, man. I feel it. Parlay.
I need more checks to pay off that wife Amazon bill. Parlay, people, parlay.
That's right.
All right. Yeah, how much you get out of that? All right. Always good for a laugh, Raphael. All right, so let's dip into it here again. If you're just tuning in and you've been under a rock for the last couple of hours, athletics director Coach Tanner is going to step down in the coming months at South Carolina, but he is staying on as the AD, and he will help make the transition once they begin the search at the end of the semester. We'll come back to some of that in hour 3 with Flint and Strickland and Patrick Davis. Tonight is a neat little game at 8:00 on Fox. Huh? How about that? A top 25, one of just 2 top 25 matchups this weekend, Raphael. They're both undefeated. Arizona at 2-0, Kansas State at 2-0 on Fox from old Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, where Kansas State is 7-point favorites. And how about the total? It's 60.5.
You couldn't throw me a bone. We couldn't talk UNLV Kansas. You could not throw me something small. You couldn't, but we'll talk about
back.
Yeah, we'll get
there. This game's very interesting because I'm sorry, Tulane got screwed last week when they played Kansas State. They called that touchdown back for right receiver offensive interference. Boy, who are the refs? Big 12 refs. Really? We can't have a Tulane beat a team in a Big 5. They got screwed, but I like K-State if they're able to run well. If they play like they did in the second half against Tulane, then I think they win this game. I think the total's a tad high. I think we're going to see points, but wow, 60.5. If you like the under, which I'm leaning towards, wait. I think money will come in on the over on day today. We might see a 61, 62, maybe even pop up. So I'm going to wait to see how high this total goes.
Okay. All right. Now coming to ESPN at 7:00 from the great. Everybody's all over Kansas tonight. This one's in Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas hosting UNLV, who's 2-0, but the Jayhawks are 9.5-point favorites. Totals 57.5. 7:00 ESPN.
Back in the day, this would have been a fantastic college basketball game with me and Larry Johnson out there.
What about paying players?
That'd be fantastic. I'm leaning towards Kansas on this one, but UNLV's defense is very impressive. I know they scored, I think, 70 points against Utah Tech. I didn't even know Utah Tech had a football team that they played last week. They scored 72 points. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. If UNLV can run the ball and play good defense, it's going to be a nail biter. I would not be shocked if they cover this number. I think it's going to stay 9. I would be shocked if it goes higher. I think UNLV money is going to come in. The new Pac-12. UNLV may be going to the Pac-12.
What do you? Hey, real quick here, real quick. What do you think about the Pac-12 news this week?
What I heard is the reason why there's news on that because Mountain West can't get a major TV deal because of the name. You could probably get a better TV deal if you had a Pac-12 name than you would as a Mountain West. So I think most of those powerful Mountain West teams go to the Pac-12 just because you get a better TV deal and more money.
But they got to have 8, right? I mean, that's
gotta have 8.
For recognition. Yeah, you got to have 8.
They're talking to 2, and what I'm hearing is UNLV in Nevada.
Oh, I wonder if they get along enough to be in this,
Well, what if you want Power 5 money, they better get along well enough.
Money makes strange bedfellows. You're right.
Yeah. Well, they argue over who's the University of Nevada. Up there in Reno, you'll hear them called Nevada, but in Vegas they call them Reno. So it's quite a little rivalry.
When you have a home in Vegas, Reno's the armpit of the state of Nevada.
It seems to be that way. Yeah, it's but I think the 2 Nevada schools are no-brainers, along with New Mexico and Jamie's Wyoming Cowboys because they're state flagship universities, but they're not going to bump in TV ratings. But Vegas is I'm not saying this because you're on. I mean, look at how many major sporting events are coming to Vegas. The Rebels play in a great in the Raiders Stadium. It's a emerging TV market, and as well as I do, the locals support UNLV there when they're winning. I mean, they like UNLV.
Look at the Golden Knights.
Yeah, it's so
It's a hockey town. I mean, how dare you not mention the Aces are back-to-back WNBA champions? How dare you don't say that? But it's
We should know
about,
that.
we're going to see an NBA team in the Oakland A's there, so it's
Yeah,
weird.
we should know that because Asia Wilson is a South
No
Carolina.
thanks to any help from out here. Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Look, guys, we got him in a Gamecock shirt. Let's not give him too hard a day.
Oh, the only reason he's doing that is because we're playing the not premier school from Louisiana this season.
Oh, come on, Phil. Why?
At least South
Why
Carolina's
would you
better
do
than
that?
Nicholls State, who LSU played last week. Nicholls State. Give me a break, LSU. What is it? After South Carolina, you play Grambling?
Do they really?
It's a little worse. It's a little worse than Grambling. They play UCLA. So,
Dude, they have a tough game this week against Indiana. So I can't wait to watch that game.
Indiana's going to roll them, dude. They're bad. The team that's going in the abyss that joined the Big Ten is UCLA, in my opinion.
All right, let's get back on track here.
I
Noon
just take the
Fox-
rails. I take the rails off every time I come on.
It's okay.
Poor
It's
Jake.
all right.
I'm
We-
My
we-
fault too, Raphael.
Yeah,
If
we're
it's
here
not
for
you,
the
it's us.
Alabama, Wisconsin, noon tomorrow on Fox. Both are undefeated. The Tide, Raphael, in Camp Randall, 16-point favorites, and that total under 50 now at 49.5.
Yeah, because you figure Wisconsin's going to want to run the ball, and they always play great defense, but can they match the speed of Alabama? I just don't think they can. Wisconsin's not the Wisconsin team we've seen in the past. I think Alabama's going to put a beat down there. And then Alabama's going to win, and then we're going to, oh, is Alabama back? No, you played Wisconsin. You're not back. Wait, pump the brakes a little bit.
Hey, Raphael, real quick, the early market on that game was like 9 or 10 points. And it showed that like on ESPN, that's where I just look at stuff. And then all of a sudden the game's ended and went to 16. Well, I mean, you're seeing the line move throughout college football, right? So like it's been a 16-point game for a while. It wasn't just this weekend that bumped it.
No, it wasn't this weekend. It was mostly money coming in pretty much all week. And then after Saturday's games last week, that's when we saw the money pile in.
All right, so last week, Oklahoma State probably should have lost, but they didn't. They beat Arkansas. Any chance at all that they trip up at Tulsa this week? They are 18.5-point favorites in Chapman Stadium, noon on ESPN2. Any chance?
Like Tulsa to cover that number. I mean,
Okay.
how much energy did Oklahoma State needed to win that game? It was a fantastic game if you didn't watch it, but it was a great game. They should have lost, but hats off to Arkansas. They fought all the way to the end. That was like I said, I would highly recommend watching that game if you want to go back and see good football.
Speaking of losses, Florida State has 2 of them, and Memphis is looking to give them 3. The Noles are a touchdown favorite at Doak Campbell on ESPN tomorrow, and former Gamecock running back Mario Anderson has become a star in just his first couple of games for the Tigers, who are looking to improve to 3-0. What do you like there? Florida State, again, 7-point favorites, or the total at 53.5?
I do like the over. There's a small total. I like Memphis. If they can run the ball, boy, Florida State, Florida head coaches, man, they're going to be help wanted signs out there pretty soon, really quick for both markets. How dare you take Florida State? Just like how would you want to take the Cleveland Browns or Cincinnati Bengals? There's teams right now. I don't care what you're playing, who you're playing. You just don't want to take any action. And I'm going to put Florida State on that list as well.
Fair enough. Totally understand that. Another little sneaky game here. People probably not on their radar if you're in the state of South Carolina, but if you're a betting man or woman, this might be something to take a peek at. North Texas is 2-0 there at Texas Tech in Lubbock at Jones AT&T Stadium, noon, Fox Sports 1. Red Raiders just 10-point favorites, but the total is 69.5. Great goodness, Raphael.
Yeah, I want to take the under this, but Texas Tech, when they're in a groove on offense, they can put up points really quickly. But the main green of North Texas, they always play fantastic team defense. They always have guys that you see in the NFL. And you're like, he went to North Texas, so they always produce great defensive guys. I think the number is a tad high, but I just can't throw under money on Texas Tech because when they're grooving, they can easily put up 50 plus.
All right, that's the Midwest. Let's go a little bit further west. This game used to be played on Thanksgiving weekend. It's being played on the 3rd weekend this year, the Civil War. Oregon and Oregon State. The Ducks are 16-point favorites in Corvallis It's a 3:30 kick tomorrow afternoon on Fox. They're both undefeated. Oregon State, of course, is a member of the Tupac. Oregon is a member of the Big Ten, and the Beavers are looking to remind the Ducks why they should be back in the Tupac. But can it happen?
Yeah, I'm a Biggie fan. Don't say that word. But anyways, it's weird how you say Oregon, Oregon State, and Washington, Washington State. I put a sweatshirt on when I was doing these numbers because I'm thinking it's November. Why am I doing numbers in September for these two games? It was so weird. I like the Beavers. It's way too many points. Oregon has not. Yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they have 2 wins.
Haven't looked good.
They have not looked good at all. And you could tell they have not gelled yet. There's a lot of new faces on that team. So I still don't think they're going to gel with this big rivalry game. Maybe down the road where they will, but it's way too many points. I'm taking the Beavers.
Let's stay out in the Pacific Northwest. You just mentioned Washington State and Washington. They're both 2-0. This one's being played all across the world on Peacock, 3:30. Washington is a 5.5-point favorite at Lumen Field in Seattle, and the total is 55.5.
I'm a little bit confused in this one. Yes, the last 10 meetings, Washington's won 9 of them, but they've only covered 3 of them. So I'm really torn on what side. I think on paper, yes, Washington has the better team. I think the better defense. Yes, they lost a lot of guys on offense, but they kept a lot of guys on defense, Washington. I like Washington, but man, they can't cover against their state rivals. So I'm going to just pump the brakes and maybe just sit back on this one.
Your Tulane Green Wave make the trek norm. They got screwed. And now they're 13-point dogs at Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. Do they cover? The total is 46.5. Do they cover against Brent Venables' Sooners?
Like Oklahoma to score points last week, and they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't score with nothing, so I don't want to mess with the total. Tulane gave Oklahoma all they could a couple of years ago, and I think Oklahoma remembers that. And I think Tulane's still talking about that horrible finish last week. That might haunt them in this game. It would not shock me if we see Oklahoma win and cover this game, even though I want Tulane to win because I think Dallas puts a beat down on the Saints. And I think your Gamecocks beat LSU, and now I can say Tulane's still the best football team in the state of Louisiana. So I'm hoping and praying maybe Tulane can muster out a win.
All right, on CBS, 3:30. This used to be reserved for teams in the SEC. Now it's reserved for teams in the Big Ten who play teams that don't have a league.
Hey,
maybe aren't that good.
That might not be
Notre Dame potentially. 18th ranked Notre Dame is in West Lafayette at Ross Ade Stadium. Purdue has already had a bye week for what that's worth. They're looking for their second win of the year against the 1-1 Irish, but Notre Dame, they are a 9.5-point favorite, and the total is 47.5.
This is the point where any team can beat any team. And we saw it last week with Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame going there. Why is they only 25 ranked? Why did Notre Dame drop farther? That's why I don't believe in the rankings. I think Notre Dame bounces back. This is a perfect example that these kids, I'm still calling them kids, read their newspaper clippings. They read social media. No one can beat us. We're going to go undefeated. And then they get kicked in the nuts.
All right, 3:30 ABC. I don't think anybody knows what they think they know or what they want to know about Texas A&M and Florida and Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. The Aggies are 3.5-point favorites on the road. It's a 46.5 total here. DJ Lagway is expected to get extensive time, the quarterback for the Gators, alongside Graham Mertz. We know the Billy Napier situation. Texas A&M's already canned their guy. Mike Elko's in his first year, trying to get it maybe away from 7-5. They're 7-5 virtually every year, it seems like, in College Station. So I don't know how much we'll learn in this game, Raphael, between these two teams, but I know that both of them desperately need to win the ball game.
I didn't know Saturday Night Live started at 3:30 on Saturday because it's going to be comical on the football field. I mean, Florida's a joke. Texas A&M now really scratching their head that we can't believe we lost to Notre Dame, who lost to Northern Illinois. Saturday Night Live's at 3:30 on Saturday. I have no idea who's going to win this game, and I think Florida is going to win this game. They're at the Swamp. Can it really be that bad? Back-to-back games at the Swamp? Oof, but comical. We might see very good comical. And they're both playing SEC, so it's even more funnier for me.
Fair enough. Backyard brawl, West Virginia and Pittsburgh, 3:30 ESPN2 in Pittsburgh, where the Mountaineers on the road, 1-1, Pitt 2-0, trying to bounce back this year. They weren't very good last year. A couple of their best defensive players now play for this Gamecocks team we're going to talk about in a minute. but West Virginia is a 2.5-point favorite. The total, Raphael, 63.5. Interesting.
Big 12 football in this game. I think we're going to see no defense. I think both quarterbacks are going to want to throw the ball all over the field. This is something that we could have saw last night in an NFL game, but we didn't. I think we see a lot of points scored in that game. This one might be one of those ones that both teams hit the high 30s.
All right. High 30s. Ole Miss has been scoring that essentially in the first quarter of every game. They've got to go. This is a whopper here. Everybody, grab your bunny ears. The CW Network's got Wake and Ole Miss at 6:30 tomorrow night, where Lane Kiffin is trying to get to 3-0. They should sleepwalk through this game. Mississippi is a 21.5-point favorite in Winston-Salem.
I'm still wishing CW brought back Smallville, but that's another story for another day. I mean, I think Ole Miss just easily rubs. If you want to bet Ole Miss games, just bet first halves. They've been dominating first halves. They've been scoring at will in first quarter and first halves. So then you don't have to worry about if they're going to rest everybody in the third or fourth quarter. I think we see another beatdown. We're going to see Ole Miss maybe hit the 80 mark one time this year.
Whoa.
Wow.
Not this weekend. They're not hitting 80.
No.
All right. Vanderbilt's a great story. They're 2-0. They're in Atlanta playing Georgia State, ESPN Plus, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. The Commodores are 10-point favorites, Raphael. Do they get to 3-0 and do they cover?
I can't say that again. I want to hear it again.
Do they?
I know.
I think they do. I mean, I made fun of them all summer long, and I think they do. So I'm rooting for Vanderbilt because I think it's just a great story. I think they go 3-0, and I think they covered this game. So I like Vanderbilt. They're playing as a team. They don't have one star. They don't they're not game day's never going to come there. Their quarterback's not on ESPN or they're playing as a team and they're winning as a team.
That's a great point. Great point. Speaking of playing as a team, Colorado at 7:30 tomorrow night against Colorado State on CBS. The Buffaloes in Fort Collins are 7-point favorites. The total is 58.5, and Shadir Sanders, according to Prime Time, should win the Heisman, and they should all of his boys should be number 1 picks and the whole 9 yards, and then he's going to be out of there and go take another job, and we all know how this thing's going to end. But can they get through Colorado State?
Probably not. And I'm hoping Colorado loses every game. I hope they lose every game because I heard that they were trying to get Shadir's rap song played on the on sound instead of the band playing the Colorado fight song. Give me a break. No, they coach Sanders Primetime won't even coach Dallas Baptist next year. I think he's going to be sitting at home just mooching off his kids' money now. I'm done with Colorado. Give me a break, Sanders. I am done with you. I hope the Rams put a beat down on you tomorrow.
All right, we mentioned this a little bit ago. Indiana. I mean, really? What? 7:30 on NBC. Indiana at UCLA. That's the game. It is in the Rose Bowl, so that is neat. Indiana's a 3-point favorite on the road.
That'd be great if Steve Offer was playing Reggie Miller for UCLA basketball or something. That'd be fantastic. But it's a great game. I think UCLA can hang around. Everyone thinks Indiana is going to run away with a lot of money on Indiana. If everyone was right when it came to sports gambling, I wouldn't have a job and the lights would be off some days. This one smells like a trap. Would not shock me if UCLA keeps this game very tight. I like the Hoosiers to win this one, but so does everyone else. So this is one of those ones that the books need UCLA money. I'm going to just sit back and watch this one because if everyone was right in gambling, it went right last week because NFL cleaned up and college football we cleaned up.
Comparing or at the same time, I should say, tomorrow night, competing, that's the word, competing with that game on ABC, the number 1 dogs will head to Lexington where Kentucky, Carolina put it on them last week, as we all well know, 31-6, the final score. Georgia is a 22-point favorite, and the total is 43.5. That should pretty much tell everybody what they think about this one. Can Kentucky hang in there?
Big Blue Nation money's coming in the last, I think, probably 24 hours. So that just tells me if you can run the ball against Georgia, that means the Georgia offense is playing their video games on the sidelines. If you can't, it could be an ugly beatdown by the Bulldogs. So this is one of those ones, live bet it or halftime bet it. You'll know what the tempo, who has a tempo. Is Georgia stopping the run game? Can Kentucky run on that defense? I don't want to touch this number now. I would look at live betting because maybe after the first quarter, you'll see what kind of tempo of the game is. Kentucky run the ball. If not, this can be an ugly, ugly beatdown.
Boston College and Missouri. I mentioned two ranked v ranked games this weekend. This is the second one, 12:45 on the SEC network. Boston College, number 24 in the country. Missouri, number 6 from Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Mizzou, where the Tigers are 15.5-point favorites. The total is 53.5.
Even though I'm supposed to hate Mizzou because where my brother lives, that's where his family all went. I think Boston College keeps this close. I think they can run the ball. I really like their front lines on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I think that's going to be a big difference. Mizzou scratches out, and it would not be shocked if they win by like maybe 4 points or less. But I think Boston College is going to keep this really, really close.
And finally here, LSU and the Gamecocks at noon tomorrow on ABC. All the hoopla, all the shows, of course, game day there in the morning. And it has just trickled down. According to ESPN Bet, LSU is where I thought it probably would be. Believe it or not, I'll give myself a pat on the back at 6.5. Tigers 6.5-point favorites right now. And the total sits at 48.5. The weather has dramatically improved, and the forecast looks good for Williams-Brice Stadium tomorrow. Can Carolina Raphael knock off the Tigers for the first time since 1994 and for the first time at home since 1930 and get into the top 25 with a 3-0 record?
First, I want to say there's 4 of you guys on a panel now. We can get not one phone call to come down and watch the game, but hey, we'll talk about that later.
When Tulane comes, we'll call you.
I say, only one of us, I think, will actually be in physical attendance at this game.
Well, that's me.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You too. Okay.
Me and Matt.
I have a press pass. I could get in. I just wanted to hang out. But
right.
That's another story. But I think they can. Nichols put some pressure on LSU for the first 2 quarters of the game. I'm just not sold on that defense. They lost Emery's, their running back. 2 of their wide receivers are questions for the game. There's just a lot of question marks for LSU. And I think going on the road now, if it's a bad start, they can go. They're going to have their second loss. I do believe South Carolina wins this game. This one opened up at 9.5 a week ago, and it's all the way down. I'm waiting to see how far this goes down. I don't want to take this now and get a bad number, because when it comes to gambling, LSU could really put money on their boards. They're a good traveling team, they're a good bet team. Baseball, basketball, they always bet their teams. I think they're going to bet LSU, so we might be able to get a better number. So I'm waiting to see that LSU money to come in. So I'm hoping more money comes in.
I got one more, Raphael. I got to get an NFL one before you walk out the door. So we have a degenerate gambler, just absolutely degenerate. Like maybe bets on Indian cricket. I'm dead serious in fantasy football league. So here's what he said. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is kind of local. So the Carolina Panthers this week are really bad at football, and they are underdogs. He said a tried and true NFL buy low spot. Underdogs of more than 4 points coming off a 35-point loss have gone 48, 18, and 2 against the spread over the past 20 years.
Wow.
My money says that Carolina Panthers are not one of the 28% of teams that cover that number.
I think if you're going to play that game, it's the Carolinas the only way to play. Can they go back-to-back bad teams? I mean, we all heard all summer long how improved they are with the new coaching staff. Everyone loved the new schemes. They're not that bad as what we saw Sunday against New Orleans. They're on the road. It's always a bad place to play at the Dome. So if you're going to play that spot, I would take a shot at Carolina.
Okay.
Kind of strange to believe that they are bad. It's the Carolina show, and we all know how good Xavier
I like the Cowboys against the
Saints.
Saints.
And the Saints. Yeah.
Yeah, because let's face it, everyone's talking about Dak Prescott got paid right before the game and how good their offense was. It was because of Parsons and Lawrence is the reason why they made the Cleveland Browns look bad. It had nothing to do with the Cowboys offense. Yes, they were rolling. They couldn't run the ball. But that defense of Dallas is the main reason why they rolled the Browns.
Deshaun Watson's horrible now.
Well, that too.
Yeah, he's worth $500 million.
I heard today that some of the story that they're trying to ramp up about the new lawsuit and all that is the owners trying to ramp that up so they can get out of that contract.
They did put a clause in there, yeah, to get.
I know.
Get that music on, by the way. We got to get there.
Yeah, I've read all that, dude. I'm like, how do you? I just don't know. I'll talk about this all season, but given where he was at,
put Winston in, give him a shot.
Yeah.
He'll be throwing crab legs all over the field and getting touchdowns.
Well, we all want to see Spencer Rattler play for the Saints, so that's kind of
of course.
A lot of us are backup quarterbacks.
He's the third stringer there. He's not even a backup.
He deserves to be
Jake the
Starter.
Snake Hager's a backup.
Raphael, great stuff as always, man. Love Fridays with Raphael Esparza. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at VSI.
Double-digit win this weekend, baby.
Sports.
Double-digit win.
Yeah.
Hey, next time, bring your headgear. We'll see you next week.
Try. Take it easy, guys.
Thanks,
Raphael Esparza. All right, got to go. Flint, Strickland, and Patrick Davis joins us later in hour 3 here on ITG.
To win in sports, you have to adapt your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. I'm Eric Ponder, an Edward Jones financial advisor, and I can be your financial coach. Call 864-862-2161. Edward Jones, member Civic.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
Touchdown Brewer. Set up a screen, and it goes to Brewer. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Brewer, his second of the day. Pitches it to Brewer, turns the corner, touchdown, number 3 of the afternoon.
Hey folks, it's Mike Morgan for Ryan Brewer Fence. That's right, you know the former Gamecock legend as a terrific college football player. Well, I know him as that too. I also know him as the guy that runs a great business, one of the best businesses in South Carolina. How do I know that? Well, for one, I'm actually a client of Ryan's. I had my home in Columbia done years ago, and his crew did an outstanding job, just as he does for everybody else. Whether you're in the market for a fence, railings, columns, or anything in between, their craftsmanship, their experience, and service second to none. Ryan Brewer Fence has over 15 years of experience with consultation and installation of residential and commercial fencing and railings. Rest assured your job will be done with an unparalleled level of expertise, and it's done on time, and they do it right the first time. Again, you're not going to do any better than Ryan Brewer. Ryan Brewer Fence. The website is ryanbrewer.net. Set up an appointment today. Tell them Mike sent you.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Disaster comes uninformed. During and after natural disasters or accidents, there can be a heavy loss to property. It can become extremely difficult to bounce back to what you knew before. Having your home or office destroyed or damaged by water, fire, smoke, or mold affects your personal and business lifestyle. Resto Pros of the Midlands is here to help. Open 24/7. Call them when you need them. 803-493-0170. Resto Pros of the Midlands. RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
This is Inside the Gamecocks, the preview show. Presented by Resto Pros of the Midlands and the Barndominium Company.
Side, now flipping it back to Ellington, throwing for Dollar, into the end zone, caught.
Yes, he will! Touchdown, Gamecock! Are you kidding me?
Leaping Christopher Wells at the 10-5, touchdown Carolina.
Ryan Brewer, his heart is pumping right now. How do I look now to you?
Throws to Rice! Touchdown! He caught it in traffic! It's a pick! Executed to perfection by South Carolina.
Michigan at the 41. What a hit! Ball's free! On the ground! South Carolina deserves to have it, and they do! Let's talk Gamecock football with JB, JC, Phil, and our special guests, Michael Flint and John Strickland. Go Gamecocks!
Final hour of the work week. Welcome back Inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barndo Co. and presented by Resto Pros and the South Carolina Education Lottery. We have kept Matt with us. We've still got Mad Dog, obviously, because he's our producer, and if we didn't have him, we'd all be screwed. JC is here. And then John pulling double duty this week because Garcia gypped us on Wednesday, and Flint actually showed up. So this is wonderful news. And we've got Patrick Davis coming along at 1:30 this afternoon. It's a killer Friday. Everything has already begun in Columbia, boys. The weather forecast is improved, and hopefully South Carolina will prove to the rest of the country that they are for real with a win over LSU tomorrow. Welcome aboard, gentlemen.
What's up? What's up?
You know, look, there's a lot of things to get to, but we do need to. I want to get both of your thoughts because you both know him. Obviously, I've known Coach Tanner for 20 years, and we get the news this morning that he's going to be stepping down here soon in a few months. At the end of the semester, the university will begin their search for a new athletics director. He will assist in that and in the transition for whomever that is that takes the job. But he has served this country. Well, the country, yeah, too. But the state and the university beyond admirably for 29 years. I mean, we know what he did as a baseball coach. It's hard to be an AD. He's been in that role for 13 years. Michael, we'll start with you here. You know Coach Tanner a little bit. He's incredibly well respected by all the coaches. They get to coach underneath him because he understands what they go through, and it looks like his time as AD, although he will stay in the athletics department in a role underneath the president. It looks like his AD role will be ending here in a few months.
I thought Coach Tanner's done a phenomenal job. I mean, kind of what he had taken over and some of the hires and, you know, being thrown into the fire with some of that. I thought he's done a great job. I think Coach Beamer is a phenomenal hire. I think Coach Parrish, phenomenal hire. You look at baseball, you know, I think he learned a lot of lessons early. And I think the great part about him and his leadership is he learned from those lessons and, you know, really didn't make the same mistakes that he did, you know, not say mistakes, but learning from those mistakes. But, you know, he was always out and about, and he was always seeing, you know, the fans and was personable and was sociable with everybody. And I thought, you know, really just did a great job, and, you know, surprising, and really hate to hear that he stepped down. But, you know, I just really appreciate his leadership and all that he's done for the university and for the athletics program.
Well, you know, John, to get you in on this too. I mean, shoot, man, you know, last, I think it was the Clemson game, as a matter of fact, Mike, I walked into Flint's condo and walked right into Coach Tanner. And I looked at him and kind of remember Michael, and I kind of laughed. I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I belong here. What are you doing here?" And you know, but that is Coach Tanner. Like, a lot of people see him as like this nobody can touch him style AD. We've had one of those here, for anybody wondering, by the way. That's not Coach Tanner. Coach Tanner gets out, he goes in. You know, he wasn't in there soliciting cash or something. He was just coming around seeing fans, you know, just shaking hands and just kind of going door to door, and just wanted to say thanks to everybody for being there and all that type of stuff. He's a personable guy. Obviously, he's done unbelievable stuff. I mean, the stats, you know, from finances to, you know, renovating every single facility at this university since he's been in charge. The coaches that he's hired. And look, some of I think one of the things, John, to get to my point here, to kind of cut myself off and get to my point, when he helps the transition for the new AD, I think one of the things that will be most important is discussing the things that he feels like he didn't do well. You know, everybody knows about the successes, but what did you learn from the failures? The decisions you made that didn't work out? I think that's going to be really vital. And Coach Tanner, as JC often says, he is man enough to be able to openly discuss those things to help this program continue to move forward.
Yeah, no, I think Tanner's been a great AD for us. And, you know, I really like a AD who has a sports background.
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot. And, you know, with him being who he was as a baseball coach, I think it helped out super. I think it was super for all the hirings he did. You know, every AD is not going to hit the ball out of the park, as they say, on every hire, right? Sometimes you're going to miss. But I think for the most part, I mean, hiring Lamont, guess what? We went to our first NCAA tournament since 2017. He got on a Zoom call with us former players and asked us who we thought would best fit the head coaching job, and the majority of us said Shane Beamer. And I think Shane has got a chance to do some special things here. And then, Don and so on and so forth. I mean, I thought there's been some great hires. And then with Malinari being hired as a baseball coach, I think he's done a great job. So it'll be sad to see him not as the AD, but knowing that he's still around to share his guidance.
He'll still be around. There's no doubt about that. He did hire. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's going to be hard to find somebody with athletic success like Coach Tanner, because it's become a different world out there.
You almost need two ADs.
Yeah, I mean, you almost need somebody to kind of like handle the sports and the other person to handle the finance and fundraising.
Yeah.
Heck, if Mike McGee and Eric Hyman had been the ADs here at the same time, I think they would have probably killed each other. I mean, really, or Mike McGee would have had him assassinated at least. But
Eric would have had him thrown out of the school. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, that would have worked out a lot better. I will say this: what you got to look out for in this search is guys that who are their mentors, who have they worked for, where have they worked. Somebody brought up, I went down a rabbit hole during the break about J.D. Wicker from San Diego State, because this dude's built a new stadium. He's dealt with the Chargers leaving. He's hired great coaches. He went to Mississippi State. He was at Georgia and Georgia Tech. So then, you look back and you see, well, where's he worked? Well, he worked at Washington State for 10 years. Who was the AD there? It's one Jim Sturk. You guys know who Jim Sturk is or was? He was the AD at Missouri that came over here and lied about the women's basketball fans being racist who Dawn Staley sued. So I don't think J.D. Wicker's going to be coming here. Things like that, you got to kind of figure out who would be a candidate and who wouldn't be, beyond just have they built buildings and had successful programs.
I'm already getting text messages of people saying, "Hey, you think we'll hire Chance Miller back from Coastal?"
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't think so either. I'm just saying. I'm just telling y'all what's floating around. I'm just like, no. But I'd already heard Tanner was probably close to retirement. His son's out at Baylor now. He wants a little more free time in his life instead of having to be at every single sporting event, at every single, not even a game being played, just any kind of sporting anything. He had to be there. So,
John, you nailed it. You feel like sometimes there's 10 Coach Tanners. There's only one, and he seemingly is everywhere. He supports everything. All right, let's get to football here quickly on the injury front. Carolina, Trevon Ball and Gage Larvidae now both probable and expected to play in the game tomorrow. Emory Floyd, he is out. On the other side, nothing has changed for LSU. Chris Hilton still listed as questionable, but according to Glenn Guilbeau yesterday, probably not going to play. Garrett Dellinger definitely is going to play up front, and he is listed as probable. Carolina and LSU guys, look, so John, I'm going to start with you on this, man. I know we had you on Wednesday, and we'll reiterate some of that stuff, but we'll also try to move into some different points here. So some news we got yesterday from Glenn is that, LSU plans to, or has made the transition with Harold Perkins. He came in as a 6'1", lighter, about 210, 215 pound kind of edge defensive end guy. And then he was all SEC. I mean, he was all American, all that stuff. They move him to linebacker. Now they're saying, we're putting him back on the edge. And I don't know if that's just for this game or if that's the plan moving forward, John. But last week, Carolina did have struggles from time to time in sealing off that edge. A lot of that probably had to do with putting 2 and 3 guys on Deion Walker, I would imagine. So he's a guy with the issues, a couple fumbles last week that ended up okay for Carolina. They recovered it. But if you don't, it ends up really bad. So they're going to have to seal him off. How do they do that?
Well, honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Just got to go play assignment football, play your game. It's really as simple as that when it comes to offensive line. Just be a tough asshole and know your assignments. Don't miss stuff. We had some misses in the first game. I thought we cleaned it up really well last game. Those 2 sack fumbles that happened, one was on the tight end for overstepping the block, and the other one was just one Lenoris has just got to get out of his hand at a hot route. The tight end was wide open on a little out cut, 5 yards. So that's just something that comes with time. So I'm not too worried about this offensive line. I thought last week against a really good Kentucky front, they pass blocked their assignment like they were supposed to.
Yeah, John, really quick on that. And I shared this with JB and JC earlier. You know, the starting offensive linemen all have at least 112 snaps now on the season. Is there a snap threshold where you start getting that cohesiveness and that meshment point? Or is it a game or practice? You know, when do you see that mesh happen?
I mean, typically, all right, so all these guys just really started playing together this fall, right? Okay. So, I mean, I know they had some springtime, but they were rotating guys to figure out who their starting five is. I think right now, by week 3, this thing should be gelled up. Everybody should be on the same page. You know, the center's making the calls. All the guys should know their assignments. So, I mean, now they should be gelled up and ready to go now. They should be cohesive as a unit. You know, I think even last week probably. But like I said, last week's D tackles are the best you're going to see on the whole schedule. So I like the way they played the second half. I thought they did a great job. So we'll see how it goes.
To Michael's kitchen we go. Mike, it feels like it's Rocket's turn. You know, like, doesn't it kind of feel, hey, man, you know, look, he 24 for 88 in the first week. It was kind of an odd offense. And then last week couldn't get it going. Second half, kind of got it going a little bit and or a little bit more than that, I guess you should. It just feels like this is his turn. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've done a lot of things differently. I think we tried a few different things, kind of like last week. You know, in the first half, we tried to run it right into the teeth of Kentucky's defense. We stayed, you know, inside a lot, and a lot of times when you got somebody that's really good, part of the, you know, some philosophies that people like to say to neutralize that is you run right at them sometimes, but then there's other times you want to try to stay away. But as you see in the second half, we made really great adjustments and really started to get wide and utilize that pin and pull, or, you know, whatever the scheme is, started pulling guys, getting guys, you know, moving forward. Thought they did a really good job. And there was a couple of plays where Rocket was right there and could have broke one instead of, you know, 7-8 yards, could have broke it for another 20 or so yards just on a couple of shoestring tackles. And that touchdown run, really getting outside and cutting back and finding the hole. Thought he did a really good job. And, you know, he's starting to find his rhythm as well. There's a lot of times where those guys got to see the hole, and you got to make that one cut and get upfield. And, you know, the offensive line is really firing off the ball. There's such a big difference from last year to this year, and us getting push up front and really moving those guys back. A lot of times I felt like our line was either standing still or getting pushed back a little bit, and we really didn't get downhill as much. But this year I really have seen a huge difference in those guys getting downhill, playing physical. And, you know, a lot of the mistakes we made are correctable. And we got some talent. So I think he's so close. And, you know, I think we can be more creative in that run game, a little more diverse to keep that defense on their heels a little bit. And, you know, just do what's working for us. And I think he's close, and I'm looking for him to really break out.
Yeah, I thought that offensive line played really hard, physical last week. You know, it wasn't a great day running the ball, but we did enough to win the game. But, you know, I go back and I watched Torricelli Simpkins. He handled himself pretty darn good against big number 0 on Kentucky. I mean, it was a stalemate at the line, and 0, I don't think he had but one tackle the entire game. I think he disrupted a play a couple times, but other than that, I thought we held our own.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking to Perry yesterday, and Perry, Mike, you should go back and listen to this. You'll learn some football. He had an awesome 5-6 minutes of explaining some of the things that he saw last weekend specifically that just had Sean Elliott written all over it. Talking about, you know, I don't know what he was talking about. I can't regurgitate all that crap, but it was really, really awesome. What did the two of you see? I'll start with you, Flint, on this one in week 2 that grew from week 1 that maybe could see some more growth here in week 3.
I think the minimizing missed assignments, I think was a big thing. You know, I think some of the, you know, I think something we could improve on a little bit more that we struggle with a little bit is blitz pickup. Really understanding and being good with blitz pickup. I know there was the tight ends, some of those the missed blocks were magnified because of the fumbles and the hits on the quarterback. But I thought just protection overall and really firing off the ball, looking comfortable, getting downhill was a big change from game 1 to game 2. But I'll tell you, the one thing that has been absolutely critical for the offense is how well the defense is playing, and the defense putting the offense in really good down and distance situations and not having them backed up. And when defense can keep a game close, and with an offense like ours just continuing to grow and mature and learn, that is fairly young still, it's good to keep that confidence up. When you start to get down by 10 points, 14 points, you can see things to kind of start to deflate a little bit. But when the defense gets you the football in really plus down and distance situations and keeps the game tight, that confidence stays high and it just continues to grow and grow. And I think that's been really big for us. And I think it was huge, the Kentucky game. Being in that environment, Kentucky, you're going to look back in this Kentucky's a good football team. They're going to win. They're going to win some games this year. And I think that defense really played a huge factor in the offense continuing to get better throughout the course of the game, putting us in really good down and distance situations.
How about Lenoris, John? What do you want to see out of him this week that's going to help this offense stay on the field and score some points, especially in the red zone? They're going to have to score.
Well, like I said last week, that pass across the middle to Brown, I think, kind of got him settled for the rest of the game, except for the 2nd and 17 where he threw the interception. But that was just a young player, basically trying to force a ball that he shouldn't. And that's a teaching moment right there, right? Yeah. So you have to go through that and get the experience. So I think week by week, we're going to start seeing a little more from him. I think they got a big chance this week to put it in the air, make a few big plays. I'm really hoping we see a nice little 50 to 60 yard deep bomb tomorrow. I mean, I would love to see that. I think that's the best ball Norris throws, in my opinion, just from watching during the spring and fall camp when I was out there. He throws as good as deep ball as anybody in the country. So that's what I kind of took away from last week moving into this week.
Yeah, I think another thing is with the pressure that Kentucky got on us and some of the missed assignments on the outside is that you never saw Lenoris get rattled. He kept his eyes downfield, and that's one of the biggest things I think that came out of it is he kept his eyes downfield. And, he didn't do as great of a job feeling the pressure, maybe stepping up in the pocket, but that's going to come as he continues to get more reps throughout the game. And, because really the last thing you want to see is a quarterback's eyes seeing pressure and seeing the rush, because that means he's not looking downfield, looking at coverage and in the secondary and things like that. So that was really positive to see that, he was feeling the pressure, trying to get rid of the ball, held on to it a little bit long, but you could tell that he never got rattled. He kept his eyes downfield and continued to play. And that was huge. And I'll tell you, I love the play call on that touchdown pass, getting him, faked and getting him outside the pocket on a bootleg. I think getting him comfortable, getting him outside the pocket, moving the pocket, keeping him comfortable. But, I love, that scheme is some of that play action bootleg, getting him outside the pocket and letting him go. I think he's really comfortable back there in moving around and throwing the football. But Strick's right. He throws a beautiful deep ball, and I would love to see that.
2 quick points, and I know we got to get rolling, but 2 quick points.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. The one holding call we got back up in end zone where Lenoris steps up in the pocket and drills a ball to Jacobs right there. But it got called back for holding, which was not holding. The DN slipped, and Josiah had his hands on his shoulder. He was not holding him. But anyways, that right there, kept his eyes downfield, felt the pressure, stepped up, kind of rolled out and rolled a pass. The other long pass in the second half to Brown. He feels the blitzer coming at him, steps up, makes him miss, rolls out the pocket, 35-yard gain. So that's stuff we did not see the first week. And we've seen it carry over to last week. So that's what I want to just keep seeing. And you could tell it was a point of emphasis last week in practice. And he sure enough did. He kept his eyes downfield, maybe too much on those 2 sack fumbles. But, yeah, I think we've already seen improvement from week 1 to week 2 on that.
Yeah, and I pick on Michael because I love him dearly, but he's said this forever when it comes to quarterbacks. Are you seeing it or are you feeling it? And he was feeling the pressure, and he was able to get out of there. All right, that's what the Gamecock defense is going to try to do. We'll squeeze this in. We'll hit a break right at 1:30. We'll get to Patrick Davis in here in just a minute. But I mean, what else can you say? I mean, come on, man. These guys have just been phenomenal. They've just been phenomenal. And Matt and JC and Phil and I, as one of our Carolina Jackpot players this week, we know about the defensive line. We know that LSU throws the football well. Nussmeier, well over 300 yards in all 3 of his starts, the last 3. This will be the most hostile environment he's been in. But they have been one-dimensional. Let's be honest. I mean, people try to say they're not. They are right now. I mean, they're throwing the football 65% of the time, and they're running it for under 100 yards a game. That's pretty one-dimensional to me. So Carolina would like to keep them that way, but obviously not allow them to be very successful through the air. We know they've got to get pressure on the quarterback. We know that. But, Michael, talk about the challenge of old number 3. This is our guy. O'Donnell. O'Donnell Fortune is our guy. And he's got a chance to guard Kyron Lacey tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be moved around a little bit, but I know he'll draw him at some point in time. This is where old OD can step up and say, yeah, you talk about all these other cats. I'm a 5th-year guy. Let me show you how to play football here.
No, I'll tell you, I've been watching him a lot, kind of waiting his turn, with the guys in front of him. And he's played well. The one deep ball that he gave up to Key, I believe, was just a heck of a throw by the quarterback. I mean, it was over the shoulder. He had good coverage, got 1 foot down. But the one thing that I was so impressed with is the next play. He stepped up. They tried to run a quick screen to the receiver. He flew up, beat the block, and made a tackle for a loss. That was huge. So he didn't let the play before that affect it. He had a short memory, and that was what I was really impressed with him about is he had great coverage, gave up a big play, got up, short memory, came back to the line of scrimmage, did his job, and actually made a huge play, a really big play on that quick screen for a loss. And these defensive backs are physical. Bakari Swain is physical, and that's a lot. One thing you don't see with defensive backs necessarily across the board is playing with the physicality they do. And I've been impressed with the way O'Donnell Fortune, how physical he's been at the point of attack, downfield. It's really good to see. And at his size, it's really invaluable, and you don't see that a lot with a lot of DBs. They're always protecting themselves. They're not as physical as you would like to see, but he's got a really big opportunity this week to really show his value. And I think he's continuing to get better and better each week. Even being a senior, he's getting more and more reps, similar to Darius Rush. Got a ton of playing time late in his career and just continued to get better and better and better every week. And I think this is exactly what O'Donnell's doing. But just the physicality, I think you'll see that a lot more on Saturday than what, has really been seen so far.
That's a great point. The pride of Sumter, South Carolina, O'Donnell Fortune. All right, quickly on this one, we got to go. Patrick is coming in, and we'll talk some more ball. But quickly on this one, though, tight end Mason Taylor can play. John, he's only in his 3rd year of the program. I say only, but to have the amount of catches he's got as a tight end, 85? Wow. 5 catches shy of tying an LSU record, which would be 90. Who guards him?
Well, you're probably going to have linebackers and nickels on the tight end. That's what's going to happen.
Kilgore?
Yep.
Love Kilgore.
So that's probably what you're going to have. And, I already said this on Wednesday. I did all the, the numbers on it. LSU is throwing the ball 66% of the time on the dot, and they are running it 33% of the time. And compared to Kentucky last week, this offensive line for LSU is way better. The quarterback's way better. That tight end is way better. Receivers, it's almost a push. I mean, because I think Dane Key's one of the best receivers in the SEC. He's just got to get somebody to get him the ball. So they're going to have the work cut out for them this week. Rolling Nussmeier out the pocket, they do it a lot. They slide the line, do it a lot, which take pressures away that doesn't allow you to get as many sacks as your traditional pocket. So, and that's when that happens, that's where a tight end comes into play. Just for everybody, LSU only throws the ball at an average of about 8 yards. That's it. That's their pathways, 8 yards. So there's some stuff we're going to have to do to create pressure, and the back end of this defense is going to have to play well this weekend.
All right, one-word answer, John. Over under Carolina sacks 2.5. They sack the quarterback. Over under.
I'm just gonna go 3.
Okay, well, that's what I did yesterday, Mike.
But to me though, pressures are a big deal. So if we can just get pressure in the face of the quarterback, that's going to make a big difference. But let's go ahead and roll with a 3. That's a solid number.
Mike,
I'm going over. The fire that this defensive line plays with is impressive, but the talent across the board that we have, you can't just double a guy. And just watching Tonka fire off the ball, watching TJ Sanders, DeAndre Jules, the 2 defensive ends, those boys play hard. And I tell you who doesn't get enough credit is Travian Robertson with the job that he's done coaching those guys, being a Brad Lawing guy, that he's going to get the most out of them boys up front. And I tell you what, he's doing it right now because them boys are playing with some fire.
By the way, I hope OD and the boys heard what ESPN New Orleans said about them this morning or either last night. Said that South Carolina's back half defensive backs don't have the talent to keep up with LSU's offensive skill players. So I hope they bookmark that one.
I like Kilgore too. We're gonna look back and look at Jalen Kilgore, and he's gonna be a really good player, and he plays really sound fundamental football.
Yeah, he's excellent. Matt, we're gonna let you run. Parting shots here. Quick pick.
Yeah, I go Gamecocks 27, LSU 20. I think I picked that on the show Tuesday night. I'll see you guys Sunday night. Me and Alex will be here to talk all about the game. Y'all have a good pick segment, and we'll all talk soon.
Send me a text tomorrow. I'll be over at Michael's.
Yeah, I'll be right across the street from you.
Yeah, come on, come see us. Come see us. You're welcome to drink all Michael's liquor. We'll see you tomorrow.
Want to see us.
All right, we'll hit a quick timeout. When we return, the pride of the state of South Carolina, the great Patrick Davis, joins here on ITG.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Coach O here. And when I'm not eating average jambalaya or celebrating endless summer in Destin, I like to eat pimento cheese straight out the bucket. And the only pimento cheese I like to eat is from Nana's Porch. It's award-winning. It'll melt in your mouth. It's good on a cracker. It's good in a bowl. It's good on a piece of bread. Also, don't forget Nana's Porch has a hell of a food truck. It's award-winning as well, and they're here for all of your catering needs. So get online, nanasporch.com. It's good. Coach O signing off. Endless summer. Go Tigers.
Charleston Fitness Equipment is keeping South Carolina in shape. Clients have come from all over the Palmetto State to find that one piece of equipment that they enjoy that keeps them looking and feeling good. Whether it's a home rower, treadmill, elliptical, free weights, a home gym, or something else, Charleston Fitness Equipment keeps the mirror smiling back at you. Get in shape like the Gamecocks do. Visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com. Gamecock owned and operated and proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
It is 1:35, and it's the final segment of our work week. And we love nothing more than to get to spend it with the great Michael Flint, the great John Strickland. No offense, guys, but the even better and more talented Patrick Davis, our dear friend who we've missed tremendously. So we're going to give you air hugs. And we're coming up on his 2-year anniversary of being married to sweet Lauren. You're only about a month away from that. So congratulations.
True.
And wish we could see you in town this weekend. But, man, we are glad to have you. What a week to have you, too.
Yeah, man, this is exciting. I did not expect the Gamecocks to, I didn't know what was going to happen last week. So this is exciting.
Well, we just saw Mike's mom in the background. She's apparently over doing his laundry. And
I wasn't going to bring that up, but I was like,
hey, Miss Charlotte.
I was playing hooky from school today.
Hey, Miss Charlotte.
That's
She
amazing.
just got busted.
Michael's in his dorm room.
Hey, I dropped my son off at school, and he said, "See you soon." And I looked back and was like looking, and then all of a sudden I get a call from the school nurse 45 minutes later.
I like John's room. This is where I want to be. I want to be over here hanging out with that. It's some old grandpa's cough medicine back there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any whiskey jam back there, John?
No, probably. But he probably drank it all.
That's right.
That's good. I like those. I like all those. You got the Wellers up there. You got some good stuff up there, brother.
Yeah, we got a few good things. Got some pappies and some B-Tacs on the top.
I was going to ask John. I was like, "Are you filming this from a bottles? Like, what do you got? Your greens in Columbia? Like, what's going on?"
The at-home bar, man. The at-home bar. Hey, condo right beside Darius Brewer's got one here now too. So
next time I'm down,
yeah,
I will, man. And JC, is that you doing the Ed Orgeron or whatever? Is that you doing that voice on that commercial?
Yeah, that commercial's about like 2 years old. I think
it's still incredible. I laughed the whole time. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's well done, well done."
I mastered the Coach O back when he first retired with the bus of Florida. I have a hard body contest down there at 4:00 every day.
I know, Phil. We probably missed an opportunity this week to have JC do an entire segment with Coach O.
You should do that if we're picking the games. You should have to do them in Coach O voice the entire time.
Well, yeah. If you want some off script, JC and Phil tune in tomorrow at 8:15.
Yeah,
a pregame show
tomorrow. Bring him out of retirement. He's been a little busy. Got married
Guys,
recently.
just keep in mind, we have a network. We do have standards. Don't do anything stupid. Because I'm not going to be on there monitoring this.
I'm doing it fully nude.
Yeah, fully nude. But you're only going to see his head. So, I mean, this head.
Like that comedian that does the machine with the shirtless guy that does the comedian. He does that bit in the machine. Kurt, I don't remember his name. But anyway, yeah.
Well, hey, look, Patrick, I know you got a bunch of stuff you want to get out to people, and then we're going to talk some ball. But I have a question for you. I've waited to get you on the air to pin you down instead of texting this and getting it'll be soon. So you have to answer to everybody. And by the way, over 80,000 people have watched this show just this week alone. So if you lie, a lot of people are going to know about this.
All right. What's the question? It's exciting.
When are you actually going to release Carolina When I Die?
Well, the full album gets released on December 6th. And then the actual, it looks like if everything goes to plan, in the end of October, there is going to be a version of Carolina When I Die that comes out, the single, and it's myself, Darius, and Edwin doing it.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Man, I haven't told anybody that. So there you go. Breaking news.
Right. Well, I said 80,000. I meant more like 80, but you can add the zeros on it.
I mean, that's good.
So he'll admittedly say he's a little bit of a crier. He has not heard this song before. And JC, I'm just going to tell you, when you hear Carolina When I Die, you will cry. There's no way around.
It's about the motherland.
What's it about, Patrick? It's your song.
Yeah,
I can tell by the title. He didn't have to give it away, but man.
Yeah.
People have heard it. He's played it live. I mean,
it's definitely it's one of those things that it kind of mentions that we kind of travel all over the world. Musicians, we're all over the world all the time, but there's nothing like coming home. My wife and I we still are in Nashville, but we just bought a place in Camden. Because when you come home, it's a different feeling. And the greatest compliment about this particular song is I know it's beautiful for all of us that love South Carolina and from South Carolina. But when I play this song, no matter where it is, you see people's reaction be that no matter where they want to go when it's all said and done, they think of that place, whether it be California or Pennsylvania or wherever. So they're singing "Take Me Back to Carolina When I Die," but in their mind they're thinking about something else, and that's kind of what the beautiful thing about music is, when you can hit those notes. And so this one's I'm really excited about doing this, and like I said, having Darius and Edwin on it was kind of what I always envisioned. I'm actually doing I've got 4 different versions of it. One is my dad and my little sister singing it with me, because that's really awesome. And then Darius and Edwin, and then I'm doing one myself. And then it looks like I'm going to do a special version of it in next year that I'm going to release some kind of like a deluxe version of the album. And the Blind Boys of Alabama are going to do it with me, which is a whole other thing. So so it's some cool stuff, man. So we'll have everybody crying. That's what we're trying to do. Make everybody cry. Tears mean money, people. I'm kidding. Hey,
the Gamecocks. If it's a football season and I'm in the car and the weather's nice, I'm listening, I'll cry. And then in a few months when it's 8 outside, I'll cry for different reasons.
Well, this song will make you feel better.
You still miss home. It's in your heart, and especially our state. Our state is a special one. It just stays with you wherever you go. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, man.
And PD, me and Mike Massey have Hall's reservation in Nashville that Friday night at 6, and then we'll see you at 9 o'clock that night.
The Bluebird.
Oh yeah. Are both sold out now? Are they both sold out?
No, actually, what's funny is they're getting close. But what happens with this is I feel like Gamecock Nation was trying to figure out if they were actually going to be excited enough to care come November before they decide. Because these are Gamecock evenings at the Bluebird, And so I've now that we won this last week, if we win this week, well, it's going to get crazy. People are going to start losing their mind. There's going to be national championship tickets bought, going down on Monday and Tuesday. So, but yeah, the Bluebird, it was a lot of fun a couple years ago when we were up there. And the Bluebird's really, it's such an iconic venue. Cool. Everybody in the world knows the Bluebird, and they're very sweet. They don't really actually do private events like this. So you kind of have to, you have to rent it out, and it costs about as much as a Kia. So that's kind of how it works. But it's going to be a great night, and we're doing 2 shows. And so I hope you guys, all the Gamecock folks that are going to come up to Nashville and party before the game, will come and hang out at the Bluebird with me on Friday night.
Let me quickly tell everybody how they can do that. If you're waiting to see if Carolina wins tomorrow, don't, because this thing's going to actually sell out no matter what. As PD just explained, it's a very quaint place. But if you do want to wait and see if Carolina's 3-0, if you head to patrickdavismusic.com and you click the shows link, you will see that you can purchase general admin. Do you have any VIPs left or no?
There's VIP, the VIP come. We do like a T-shirt and like you get like a poster and that kind of. So you get better, like the seating. The Bluebird's only like 100 people, so everybody's super tight, and it's an amazing experience for folks. And here's the deal: regardless of you're coming to Nashville because the Gamecocks are going to be there, but you're really coming to experience Nashville, and there's no greater real Nashville experience, because there's not much of that left in Nashville. It's become kind of like New Orleans and I don't know, Vegas had a drunk baby. That's kind of what it feels like. But the Bluebird is the real deal. It's still the real, it's old school Nashville. So it's a really special place to play, and it's a wonderful place to see a show.
I'll give one recommendation as somebody that lived there 7 years. If you're downtown, if you're on the West End, it's probably about a 10 to 12 minute Uber ride. I'd Uber because there's not a lot of parking. This place is kind of like right off. It's across from the Green Hills Mall. So you're it's not in like your traditional Nashville area, not on Music Row. Get there early. Don't be intimidated by the line. And I'd probably Uber, even if you're not drinking, just because parking could be an issue there. And all that. So about 10 or 12 from downtown Broadway and all that, probably about like 17 to 20, but it's not that far. But I would definitely Uber.
Yeah, it's in the area of town that's kind of more where the locals kind of live at Bluebird. But it's I don't know, it's just a special spot, man. When I moved to Nashville 23 years ago, one of the first things I did was go to a Bluebird show, and the magic that happens in that room, it's kind of like a dream. You're like, I want to be able to play here, and we've played there hundreds of times now, and it's just a very special place. Even now, if I go there and see my friends play, I still feel the kind of the pixie dust that kind of falls around. You can't help it because you're just right there. You're literally, some of the tables are there's going to be somebody sitting directly behind me. You know, I mean, they can touch me while I'm, hopefully they don't, but it's like, they can touch me while we're playing. So
it's as good as it gets, Nashville wise. I mean, it is as good. I can't say enough good about it, you guys. So make sure you get your tickets.
Matt has a question real quick here on this, PD, and then you move into the TV show and tell us about it. But Matt asks, is the early show all ages? He's bringing his son to Nashville.
Yeah, you can bring kids. The Bluebird's a great room because it's not a honky tonk. They have a little bit of food and drink and everything, but it's meant to be a place that you can bring everybody in. So it's an all ages show, and that kind of helps because a lot of folks when they travel to Nashville, I found that they bring they got a group of 10 people or 12 people. Like you talked about Mike Massey and those guys. He's got his birthday weekend, so there's 6 or 8 people coming with those guys. Cindy and Ken Long are bringing 10 or 12 people. It's like that. Nashville is a place that everybody likes to come to. I know people are going to Oklahoma and other games just because we've never had them, but I'm not sure if Norman, Oklahoma is a hotbed for late night activity.
Nah, there's not. That's why I'm saying in Oklahoma City not Norman.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. But
all right. Well, you're no stranger to TV. Tell us about it.
Well, I have a PBS, South Carolina Educational Television, and I partnered up to bring a national show into the world, and it's called Southern Songwriters with Patrick Davis. And it's kind of like Anthony Bourdain meets Austin City Limits. I go to small towns in the South, and we play a show, and with me and my buddies, and then I also go around and talk about these spots and kind of make folks understand what's special about these small towns, and not just for folks who are, if you're watching in South Carolina, of course, we know about Camden or, we know about Sumter or Columbia, these places, but trying to show people that are in, San Francisco or in Washington, D.C. or, Texas, like, why would they care about Camden, South Carolina? And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a labor of love. We've been working on it for about a year now, and it starts airing all over the country in October. In South Carolina, it'll be on all the PBS stations starting, I believe, October 3rd. So there's 4 episodes in season 1, and so that'll be like the 3rd to 10th, 17th, 24th. On Thursdays at 9, I believe, is when that the official air date is. And then North Carolina, it's on Saturday nights. So it's all the municipality or all the places around the country will be showing it. And it's pretty exciting, man. It's something that I never really thought I'd dive into, an actual series like this. But I was a history major at South Carolina, and I love music, and I love small towns, and I love the South, obviously. So the first 4 episodes are all in South Carolina, but next season it looks like we'll move we'll do 1 in Georgia, 1 in North Carolina, maybe a couple in South Carolina. But I'm really excited about it, and I hope that everyone will tune in. I mean, the great thing about PBS is that they don't just show it on that Thursday at 9 o'clock in South Carolina. I think it airs again on Saturday. It airs again on Sunday. They'll show it, for years and years and years, and it really showcases some of my best buddies and the most talented folks in the industry. I have Charles Kelly from Lady A on an episode. I have Maggie Rose, who's just an insane singer, who's out with Tedeschi Trucks and all these people. I have Dan Tominski from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and he's won 16 Grammys. I've won Christian Bush from Sugarland. It's like all of my buddies on stage telling stories, playing music, and then I get to go around and kind of drink beer and whiskey with people in their home in these little small towns and talk about why folks should care about it, and what makes it special, because we all have wonderful stories to tell, and it's just kind of celebrating that.
Well, you're as good as anybody at doing this. I know you don't like the public praise, but we do that often around here for you. You're always giving back, man. Hey, speaking of giving back, are you going to do the Toys for Tots show again this year?
I am, man. We're working on, JC probably knows this, we're working on something for NIL that's happening in early December. And so I moved the Toys for Tots from the night before, or the night after Thanksgiving. It looks like it's going to be December 20th, which I actually think is going to be a lot of fun, because that means it's going to be right in the heart of giving season. Everybody's going to be really in the mood for, Christmas is right around the corner. So that's going to happen on December 20th in Columbia and I haven't even announced it yet. So once again, you guys are just breaking news. I mean, like, the AP wire is going to blow up with all this information. I mean, like, it's pretty incredible. But yeah, we're doing, I'm pretty excited about that. I love that show every year. And JC hates it. He just left, but it's cool. Other than that, it's, but no, it's going to be, that's a beautiful night. And he's back. But it's a beautiful night, and I hope everybody will. I'll announce it probably next week. And Toys for Tots. And this year, I think it's actually going to go to. We're still call it Toys for Tots, but because the window for giving the toys to Toys for Tots is a little before that, I think we're going to do it. I think it's Homeless No More, maybe is what it's called in Columbia, which is a very it's local, and that'll help us give kids presents right there on Christmas morning that probably never would have had them otherwise. So it's a really great thing. So yeah.
Well, for folks, we have obviously an audience literally everywhere. If you ever want to see PD, head to patrickdavismusic.com and check out the tour, and it'll show you, I mean, all the way through next year, all the way up to the 4th annual Where I'm From festival back in Camden. We need to go to that next year, boys. We need to do our show live from PD's house next
yeah,
year.
We'll do it. We'll do it. And, I mean, all over the place, and it's a lot of good stuff coming and a lot more happening. I'm in Pennsylvania today to actually do a charity event. I'm in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where it smells like chocolate.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Bring some
chocolate bars there.
Come on, man. All right.
Hey,
so what
for somebody that's never seen PD play a live show, do yourself a favor and do it. Because I've seen it multiple times with JB, and it's a heck of an experience. And
it is.
I've enjoyed every bit of it, man. There's a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and it's just a dang good time.
It's him. Patrick's never he does what he does, like it's his thing. You know, a lot of people try to do whatever he tells them to do. Yeah. His show is his show, and that's what makes it great, right, John? You've been to 1,000 of these.
Yeah,
I mean, we've been to 1,000 of them. They never get old.
He plays sometimes on these away games. Like I remember years ago, we watched him in Athens. Me and Mike Massey and my wife, we all went, and guess who we had sitting with us? Rick Newhousel showed up and sat with me and Massey during PD's show in Athens.
Yeah. No, we have. I mean, it's the Gamecock Nation has been so beautiful to me. You know, it's not just because I'm from South Carolina, but because of I mean, the Big Old Cocker, these other tunes, which but I grew up.
My kid's favorite song.
Yeah, I grew up a Gamecock fan, and so it's from the heart. And Beamer and Shane actually and I think they've changed enough people in the Gamecock powers that be to where I think Big Old Cock is finally going to make its debut in the stadium again. It was there for a minute, and then they said it was too risque. So we're getting back to that. So that's good news. So
yeah, I was about to
something funny. Okay. Something funny on that. My youngest son was at school one day, and he was singing Big Old Cock, and he got in trouble.
Well, I would go, how do you not? We say go Cox. I mean, everybody says this. It's not like we know what we're talking about, So, but yeah, that seems to be, we're trying to work that out now. Justin King and I have been talking about it. But it's, I love Gamecock Nation, and everybody's been beautiful to me. So, and hopefully, tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to watch the game when I hear it's a noon game, and man, I can't believe. I mean, that defense. Come on.
Man, they're something, aren't they? Aren't they fun?
They're fun to watch. I mean,
they fly around, man.
They do. They're really impressive, man. And that little that montage you had before, man, with all the highlights, that got me choked up a little bit there with all the old school, Kimry's pass, all that stuff was on there. Marcus, Lattimore now, he's doing poetry. He's amazing. Y'all know this?
Hell yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's literally, he called me to talk about all this stuff. He's really incredible. It's like, I'm like, wow. So
it was unexpected, I can tell you that. But yeah, he's living the life he wants to live in Portland.
I think it's one of those deals where you see someone that, like, I think no matter what they did in life, they were going to do it to the fullest. And if they made a decision, and it's so sad that he's not winning Super Bowls, but maybe that's not what he was meant to do. And so it's just it's a beautiful thing. I hope everybody just cheers him on, because there's one thing, when you see number 21 run, even 10 years later, it makes me choked up. Dude. It's like, what an incredible, what an athlete. Like, it's just an amazing to witness, even if it was only for a couple years.
He's our generation's George, and so on and so forth. You get to tell the stories for decades. I got to watch Marcus Lattimore play football. It's and then if you knew him, if you got to know him, you figured out he was an even better person than a football player. It's just a really good dude. All right, man.
All right,
we're gonna make a couple of picks here, and then we'll just two quick ones, and then we'll get into to South Carolina, and then we'll let everybody go. By the way, Clemson does not play anyone this week, which is pretty much like every other week for them. But they actually don't really play anybody at all. So for what that's worth, so there won't be a Clemson game to pick. We'll start with John quickly here. John, on the SEC Network, 12:45 tomorrow. Some think this could be closer than others. Boston College and Bill O'Brien make the trek to the other Columbia to take on Missouri in a 24-6 matchup. What do you have?
What is it? 16.5 spread, right?
Down to
Something like
14.5.
Oh,
14.5.
wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I got Missouri winning this game, but I think Boston College may hang around a little bit. So I had it at 16.5. So I had them covering the spread. But, yeah, I got Missouri.
How about you, Michael?
I'm going with Missouri. I think Missouri's got a lot of experience. They're a very seasoned team. Boston College is good. I think Bill O'Brien's got those guys playing tough. I think Boston College hangs around for a little while, but I think Missouri's just is too good. They're too experienced. They got really dang good receiver and quarterback. I think Missouri pulls away and covers.
Quickly, Phil.
Missouri. Yeah, I think Boston College covers though.
JC.
BC covers. Missouri will win. It could be single digits.
Okay. Could we all collectively say we agree that Georgia will beat Kentucky?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the spread, though?
I actually think this is going to be closer than people think it is. I'm not saying it's going to be
close.
close.
Hold on. Now, you didn't give PD his pick on Missouri there.
Oh, I didn't?
Yeah, you
oh,
just
sorry, Patrick.
Over.
Hey, I was just agreeing with everybody. I think what JC said is right. I think it's going to be probably BC will cover the spread, but I think that you're playing it. Missouri hasn't been good, this good in a long time. So I think that there'd probably be a lot of energy in the stadium and all that. So they'll pull it out.
Okay. All right. Georgia wins. Patrick, we'll start with you on this one because you'll get the last pick up next for South Carolina. Does Notre Dame get upset again tomorrow at Purdue?
Probably not. I mean, I would. I mean, anything could happen. That game we watched that game. I was in Florida last week, and I was like, oh my goodness, they lost. Who did they lose to? Northern Illinois or something like that.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. But in this day and age, I mean, you would hope that Notre Dame gets their act together because if they lose again, they might fire the coach.
Yeah. Who gets fired first? The guy at Notre Dame or the guy at Florida?
I'll tell you after this weekend on both.
Yeah, we got to check the scoreboard after the weekend.
Give me 28 hours, and I'll let you know.
Because it is interesting right now with this, when some of these teams lose early, it doesn't. That's like Michigan got taken to the woodshed, but it doesn't matter because if they finish out the work, they're still going to make the playoffs. So keeps it interesting, a little longer.
Yeah.
John, Notre Dame go down?
Notre Dame does not go down, but I did take Purdue to cover, so I think it's going to be close. But Notre Dame pulls it out.
Michael?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame wins it. These early season games, you saw what could have happened to us against Old Dominion, first game of the year, and then what we did against Kentucky. And it's just two completely different teams. I think you see a different Notre Dame team come out on Saturday and win.
This is easy. I know JC's picking Notre Dame. His wife's an Irish fan. We can skip over that.
Nope.
Oh.
And you know how I feel about Purdue because of their terrifying mascot and the talent on campus. But I got an email on JC and Morgan from a fired up Purdue fan pre-gaming on Tuesday. Guaranteed victory. It's in West Lafayette, home of Axl Rose. So all I got to say to Notre Dame is welcome to the jungle.
Oh, wow.
Oiler makers win.
Nice stat.
And I don't think Riley Leonard's healthy. That's there's a football reason I'm picking Purdue, but I'm picking Purdue.
I'm just gonna I'm picking Purdue too. I just it's off the rails at Notre Dame. It's over. It's done. She's done. 3-9. They're out. So I'm going with I'm not 3-9, but somewhere around there. I'm going with Purdue. Phil.
Yeah, give me Purdue too. I'm all about Notre Dame. Just as not something's amiss there.
Okay. And as you all know, the South Carolina Education Lottery funding over 229,000 scholarships for Gamecock students since 2002 presents our final pick between South Carolina and LSU.
Introducing this year's Carolina Jackpot $5 scratch-off ticket, featuring a chance to win up to $200,000. You can even enter your tickets into the Second Chance promotion. Step on the court for a chance to win $50,000, $75,000, or $100,000. This Palmetto series lets show who really runs this state.
To Rice. Touchdown. He caught it in traffic. Left side, Jeffries got
out of that locker room tomorrow looking to go 3-0. John Strickland, does Carolina get it done?
Well, it's going to be a tough game, boys and girls who are watching. We played well at Kentucky last week, but LSU is a really good football team. But I think we find a way, and I'm going to go 21-20.
I like that. Mad Dog.
Yeah. I'm feeling the same. This is going to be tough. You're going to get to see a real test here. Quality of opponents a little better than last week, I think, but I like the Gamecocks in a close one as well, 23-20.
Michael.
Man, I love how salty this defense is, and they fly around like crazy. I like the multiple fronts we provide, 3-man front, 4-man front. These guys just play hard, keeping the offense's confidence up, keeping the offense there in the game. The offense is going to continue to get better and better each week as Lenoris grows. I think there's going to be some big plays this game. I think special teams is going to play a key role. And I love how salty this defense is, man, and how they fly around. And I'm going 28-24 Gamecocks.
I will, before JC, I will say that I said 3 months ago, if Carolina opened 2-0, that they would open 4-0. And there's no chance that the day before they get a chance to play that third game, I'm going to back off of that statement. We've known for quite some time how good this defense can be. And I think once again, they'll be that tomorrow. They'll force some mistakes on Garrett Nussmeier, and they will win the game once again for South Carolina. But Rocket Sanders will emerge as one of the best backs once again in the SEC. I think he's going to have a big day. I really do. I believe that. And I think Carolina JC opens 3-0. And next week, they will be in the top 25.
All right, a promise is a promise, but I've told all of you all week how I think South Carolina is in pretty good shape to win. But based on the sacrifice to the football gods and the bucket of Popeye's chicken that I'm not KFC, Popeye's chicken sacrifice in the backyard later, I'm going to go with LSU 8, South Carolina 5. Carolina's going to get a field goal and a safety, and IU Bengals will score a fourth quarter touchdown and run in the 2-point conversion on a fake extra point and win 8.
That's called being a team player right there.
We go.
Well done. Hey, it worked last week. Stay in that lane.
Wait till you hear my Akron prediction next week.
Keep doing it.
Akron next week is going to be
a kangaroo outfit for that one
over Carolina. Before Eric Church plays and before we get Patrick's final pick here, I will pass this along from our chat box. From somebody who says, I just want to say that Patrick's father's album that he uploaded to YouTube is fantastic. The song Music Take Me Away is probably my favorite. Pretty cool.
Oh, man. Yeah, my old man was a musician. He still is an amazing guitar player, but he was doing the singer-songwriter thing back in the 70s. And he had an album that never got put on streaming services. It's just an album that he did. And last year for Christmas, I put it on all the streaming services. So if you guys go check out Rusty Davis from 1970, maybe 78 or something like that. And my dad doesn't have much hair now, but he had this beautiful lock of hair back then. So you go like it's pretty awesome. So I hope you guys you check that out. It's good stuff.
There aren't many people better than the Davises. What a family, and we'll see now what this is representative of the entire family. So what are you going with tomorrow?
Man, I think that the atmosphere at Williams-Brice, I'm very sad I'm not going to be down there. I think it's going to be electric, especially after how I think just dejected everyone was, how everyone was very down after that Old Dominion game. I mean, it was just a bad feeling in the stadium, and now everybody's got so much energy. And the defense, like Mike says, has been playing incredible. I hope the offense gets better. I think 35-24 Gamecocks.
That would be something.
Yeah, plausible. Very plausible.
We'll all have,
man.
Go Cox.
We'll all have
you
drinks.
Win a little high score game, even if you do have a good defense.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Patrick Davis is one of the great South Carolinians that represents the entire Palmetto State, not just the Gamecocks, so well all across the world. He goes everywhere and plays music. I would encourage everybody who's never seen him to do it. Go download his music wherever you download. PatrickDavisMusic.com. Buy the merch, like the big old cock hat that's on his head. I've got one of those. I wear it all the time. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Enjoy Hershey. Bring us some chocolate, man.
There's plenty of diabetes up here, boys.
Look here. If they pull it out tomorrow, we'll send you a video from the condo drinking on some whiskey jam.
Oh, I love it, man. Okay. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And love all you guys. Go Cox.
You're the man.
Go
Thanks,
Cox.
PD.
Thanks, PD.
There you go. The best wedding I ever went to was Lauren Jenkins and Patrick Davis, the most beautiful setting up in North Georgia. And they have become quite the power couple. Johnny and June? Who? Patrick and Lauren. Thanks to Michael and John. They're quite the power couple, too. But not in the way that you think.
I don't know.
Hey, back in the day, boy.
That's right.
Yo, I know if Carolina gets beat bad tomorrow, or if it is 8-5, you guys are not going to watch football. Some of you out there in listening land and want to watch TV. JB's recommendation of Bad Monkey on Apple is spot on, especially if you love Vince Vaughn, witty, kind of the same guy that Scrubs did it. It is unbelievable. I started binging it last night, and I'm about to go watch it again. So I rarely recommend television, but Bad Monkey. If they win, you're going to have probably a few drinks and watch football the rest of the day. But if you want to ball up in a ball, maybe you're hungover Sunday, I recommend that.
Thanks to Phil and JC for their hard work always. Thanks to Matt Anderson, Raphael Esparza for joining us, and all of you. Over 80,000 of you this week have watched our show. That's crazy. Thank you so much for that.
Or on YouTube alone on Monday.
Thanks to John and Mike. We'll see you Monday, hopefully with a 3-0 Carolina football team.
Yeah.